はい、おはようございます。続いてのゲームは、スターオーシャン6ザ・ディバイン・イン・フォース、となります。こちら、解説おられませんで、このゲームの RTA したことあります。もしくはゲームやったことあります。もしくはこのシリーズ知ってますという方おられましたら、ぜひ解説応募のフォームより必要事項を記入の上、ちょっと勝手に来ていただけると助かります。フォームの URL が、この URL のコマンドを忘れてしまったんで、今必死に探してます。あ、すみません。フォーム、ありがとうございます。僕のコマンド間違ってました。びっくりマークいこうと遠かったです。こちらのフォームよりね、RTA 知っている人、スターオーシャン6やったことあるよ。もしくはスターオーシャンシリーズ何かしらやったことある人、やったことあるよという方は、ぜひこちらのフォームに、必要事項を記入の上、解説、もしくは、補足の補足していただけるような形の解説員として来ていただけると助かります。ですね。1、2、3は、結構大どんでん返しがあるようなストーリーになっていて、ああ、そういう世界観だったんだ、というふうに驚いた覚えはありますけど。発売が去年の10月22日、スチーム版も出てますね。最近のレビューでやや好評となっている、RPG なんですけど、どんな風に、僕3はやったことあるんですよね、ちょこっとだけ。3の初期版を少しだけプレイしたことはありますが、どんな風に進化しているのか見当もつきません。 2が結構名作というのは聞いたことあります。僕もちょっと関わってるロングスピードランサミットの方でも、去年2、英語版の2を走ってた方がいましたね。
All right, welcome in everybody. I hope you are doing well. It was a wonderful run for Soul
1から3はもう全く関係なくなった世界線でのお話なのかもわからないんですけど、そこら辺プレイされた方おられたらチャットでちょこちょこと書き込んでくれると助かります。
Well, that's just super funny. Hang on. Give me a second to bring the game back up. It decided to crash on me. That was super funny. Might get to hear a little bit of the intro song while we're loading this
画面
back up.
切り替わったかな？
All right, that's enough of that intro song.
あ、来ましたね。
Alright, so yeah, welcome to Star Ocean 6, everybody. I'm SoulCell007. Sorry for that. So, I've got a little bit of extra time on my hands. I've got permission to kind of speak freely instead of going straight into the run. So, what I did want to do is a little favor to all the people who are playing casually. If you have played Star Ocean 6 and you've been experiencing maybe some lag or some juddering while you've been playing, what you might want to try doing is going down to graphics and recompiling your shaders. And if you do that and then back out to the main menu, your shaders are going to recompile. And that is going to do a wonderful thing for your gameplay. It might take over 30 minutes the very first time you do this, but it should take less than 30 seconds after that each time you do that. And this is something I typically do for the run before every run. So we're going to let that finish up. This is an absolutely beautiful game that I have
ゲームを読み込んでるんですかね。多分これが読み込み終わったらタイマースタートするんじゃないでしょうか。スターオーシャン6。
I did turn on
奏者はソーラーセル007さんですね。
But we're going to use this for the marathon. Let me click on over real quick what this DM is. Alright, so I think I'm all good to go, assuming my game doesn't crash again. We should be fine. So let's go ahead and get into new game. Now, in Star Ocean 6, you have the choice between two different characters to play. You can play as Raymond or you can play as Letitia for story of
プレイヤーを2人から選べるみたいですね。
most of the time, which character leads the party. You can play as both during the game, regardless of who you choose. You just get a little bit of a different feel depending on how you choose. So with Raymond, you'll get a more sci-fi kind of run, and with Letitia, you'll get more of a fantasy age kind of run. But this is the Raymond category. We're going to play on Earth difficulty. That is the easiest difficulty. And then time will start when I choose the language for this run. I'm not entirely sure if there's a difference between English and Japanese. Most of the game revolves around skipping cutscenes and cutting text.
難易度はイージーで、音声をどうするか。
But here we go. In 3, 2,
あ、もちろん英語ですね、それね。はい、グッドラックで。
and off we go. This ocean of stars. You'll be hearing this a lot if you decide to run this game.
This ocean of stars.
And then we'll skip one more cutscene here. Basically, you get a part of the story where you're the head of this cargo ship, you're transporting something, you come across a pan-galactic Federation ship that fires upon you when it shouldn't. You get shot down. There's 4 pods that get shot down to this planet. And we're starting out trying to find where our other crew members are.
シャットダウンって言ってるんで、船がこの惑星に落ちちゃったのかな？
I changed how my AI characters. I don't have any people in my party yet, but this is the first fight you have access to stop time, which is
すっ飛ばした、オープニングはそういったシーンがあったんでしょう。
literally stop time and choose what you want to target, what items you want to use, things like that. And I use that to tell my AI characters to attack different targets than me, and that'll be important in a few fights coming up. You're also going to notice I'm going to be mashing through these tooltips. Unfortunately, you can't turn these off. There's nowhere in the options to do that, so you have to go through these every time. But at the very least, you know where they are. So you just kind of get used to the timing for them.
オーシャンっていうと、エンカウントした後、なんか小さなバトルフィールドみたいなところに移動して、敵と戦うイメージありましたけども、なんかオープンワールド化して、そこら辺でバトルできるようになってるみたいですね。どうやら。
Coming up a little bit later. Alright, I didn't miss that jump off that wall, so I didn't bring shame to my family, which I'm very, very happy about. And yeah, chat, if you have any
なぜか主人公が乗っていた輸送船が銀河連邦の船に狙撃されました。なんでなんだろうな。恐ろしいですね。
At least for my tiny brain, so I'll do my best.
ここから、戦闘フィールドがシームレスになってます。なるほど。
Shouldn't be too bad. So yeah, this is the Madoom Ruins. We're coming up here because one of our other pods, our escape pods, landed up here. Raymond himself is hoping it is Elena, which is a crew member. I'll be doing more of these jump dives to get over areas I wouldn't be able to otherwise. Play well in Steam Deck? I could not tell you. I'm not sure. I think the specs that I know of for PC are, at the very least, the suggested specs are an RTX 2070.
開始から間もなく3分ですけど、カエルと戦闘した以降は一切戦闘がありません。ひたすら走っています。
Where the pod is, and we're gonna find Duma, and we'll see Duma after this, but I'm gonna be skipping a cutscene here, so we're not gonna get a good chance to see it. And this is gonna introduce the entire mechanic behind fighting these enemies in the game.
3分ぶりの戦闘ですかね。
You know what blind sides are. So blind sides here, there's not this long animation of going behind an enemy or anything like that. I'm going to try not to lose my AP. So in this game, your actions are based on AP, which refills over the time if you're not sprinting around.
スターオーシャンでは、特徴的な、行動システムというか、その AP を消費して、攻撃していくっていうところを説明されたみたいですけど、どんな仕組みかも僕も覚えてないですね。
So we're going to manually change target, start this, blindside it, stunlock it, and then the boss is dead. So a lot happened in that right there. I'll try to explain it. If you look underneath our AP gauge, we're in a fight. You might not be able to see it now, but there's this thing called a VA gauge, and VA is Vanguard Assault, and that's what you see me doing right here as far as flying quickly. It's our fastest mode of transportation right now, and you see that blue bar underneath my AP. The higher that is, the longer enemies will stay stunned when I blindside them or surprise attack them.
高速移動できるような便利なアイテムをゲットして、辻切りをしつつ、飛んでいってますね。
To power up Duma, which is this orb-looking creature attached to our back.
回収してるクリスタルは何なんでしょう？お金なのかな？それとも経験値とかアイテムなんですかね？
Alright. So, yeah, Duma is something that we're not going to figure out the origins of until much later in the game. It's Scorpion, but we'll talk about Scorpion a little later. Another thing you're going to see me do is look down a lot and then look back up while continuing to do my VA, my Vanguard Assault. And the reason for that is if I try to target onto an enemy to hit them like that, I'll move faster, but I'll actually get locked into battle a tiny bit longer than it would be to just look down and look back up and sail right through them.
何かイベントのあるし
This
に来
part
たん
of
ですか？
South's run is just kind of going as fast as I can from quest marker to quest marker. And that's what we're gonna do.
Come on, let's make our way to that village.
So yeah, depending on which character you decide to take at the beginning of the game,
Set village is to
you're either going to be thinking that your goal is to find your crewmates, or your goal is to
The enemy is before us.
I hear ya.
search for
Squat here with all these
a
trees.
character named Midas Felgreed,
Going the right way.
We are.
who might be able to help you solve this planet's issue, which is something called the Rot or Helgar's disease.
Continue on our southward.
So Helgar's disease is this affliction that's affecting the planet. There's no cure for it.
はい、我々にはできないような動きで、非常にスムーズに進んでいます。
Another thing you'll see me do is I'm going to turn the camera and then turn it back while I'm going. This is to avoid targeting any enemies as well.
主人公にひっついた機械、の強化ポイント。
But if I'm
なるほど、なるほど。この丸っこい機械を強化するための必要なアイテムがクリスタルと。
Oh yeah. So as far as it not running well, I definitely recommend. I went in. I tried to create a cache,
We've arrived.
For this game, but the main thing that helped was recompiling the shaders.
That's the kind of meal that
お
makes
最初の村ですよ。なんか買い物するんですかね。
you really want to run around looking for
All
a
right, so
semi.
mandatory little part of this quest right here.
何かイベントがあったみたいですが、
You can't go into your menu or
スキッ
anything
プして、
while a character is talking.
何も買うことな
Can't interact with
く
other characters, which we
空
need to
中を
do.
飛び、屋根の上に乗
Just
り、
gonna get up to those roofs, pick up some more Doom points, but also pick up a second SPC. The first SPC was the
お
chest.
そらくパーティーメンバー
right after the boss
話しかけて、
And we're picking those up because
夜になってるんで、もう一晩明かして次の朝、もう出ていくみたいな感じでしょうか。
Kind of be flying through everything best we can. So our money's going to come in the form of the bosses we kill, and also things we can pick up off the ground.
Morning. Before we head out.
No worries, there's still plenty of game left.
Come
Oh, yeah.
on, two.
If things go well, it shouldn't even be that 3 hours. Not
はい、出ていきました。何も買うことなく、何かイベントを2つぐらいこなして、最初の村とおさらばですね。
We'll see.
You seem to be getting used to
Do I have a favorite Star Ocean title?
At first, you wouldn't.
I would say 4. I know 3 is really, really good. I enjoyed playing 3, but oh gosh, that's already dead.
Can't really tell.
I would say 4 is probably my favorite.
You mean
I haven't played any of the others actually besides 3, 4, and 6. So I know I can't give a true comparison. I know 2 is supposed to be really, really good, and 2 gets a lot of love for speedrunning.
Not to be a pain, but are we
奏者のソーラーセルさんの一番好きなスターオーシャンシリーズは何ですかっていう質問があったみたいです。4が一番好きみたいですね。
And then
も
we'll
し
be
くは
changing
3
the。camera a little bit more here to avoid getting into some fights.
It seems we have finally crossed into
Now you're gonna see me when I first get into a new area.
That took quite some time.
Your Highness.
That's a rock.
Hey.
You're gonna see me swing my sword
Hush, this is nothing.
a few times.
You worry.
And that's because when you do this VA with your sword out, you actually go, you have less delay between each
We
VA.
should be going south from here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my bad.
And depending on how many VAs I need to do in a certain map,
Yeah,
I know if I need to
yeah,
swing my
I
sword or
know.
not.
Oh, hey. Is that the
おそらく地上を舐めるように飛んでった方が早いんでしょうね。多分空中に入っちゃうと、
So, we're entering Delric Village. We're going to
次設置するまで多分スイーという移動方法できないんじゃないで
might
す
be
か。
some information on Helgar's disease or things like that, but you're going
あ、いいですよ。2つ目の街です。結構大きめの街です。これはなんか買うでしょ
There's a plane that we cross to start this cutscene, but running over to that side, we actually skip a text,
Ah, it's an inn.
which is it's an inn. Nice, let's go inside. And what that does is it cuts off an extremely lengthy conversation between the characters. And you can't do anything. You can't
奏者さんが出した、
talk to people to to progress the
6 時
story.
間前に、
Now you see a long loading screen
約
here,
6時間前
and
に
that's
ワールドレコード
the game having an issue.
を更新
There's
している
some
と。
RNG
2時間
with the factors of that
31
RNG.
分
So we
19秒。
sleep at the end.
2時間
Moving over here, I'm going to skip another text.
予定タイムは3時間ですけど、だいたい30、うまくいけば30分ぐらい巻くことができると。
Good night, or you can have a light snore or a heavy snore. And depending on what you get, actually takes longer. Alright. Okay,
Thanks.
let me do this real quick while I'm trying to talk. We need to prepare our characters for the upcoming fight. So, welcome to Star Ocean Skill Trees. Plenty of icons
オーシャン
everywhere.
スキル3と。
Easy swapping between the characters. So right now I'm on Letitia's skill tree. We're gonna go to Albie's now. And what we're
もの
picking
す
out
ごい多い
right
ですよ。
now are 2 passives. Rainy Day Funds. And Determined Princess. Whoa, that's not what I want.
おそらく取得したスキルをセットしてるんだと思いますが、どういった技がセットされてるかは全然わかんないです。
Boulder Crush. Boulder Crush. Alright, so we sold the SP seeds. And the lucky fight coin we got off fighting that Chimera. Oh, that's bad. Thank you.
Marcus's infirmary.
And that gave us enough money to buy a new weapon for Raymond. And
Perhaps
enough
Nina,
strength
take us to the
potions.
abandoned mine.
Now, I'm not going to get here too quickly.
何のイベントがあったでしょうか。おそらく仲間1人増えてるんじゃないですか、これ。
We want to hit the quest marker when the last person is speaking because it cuts off the rest of their text. And so we got there at a specific time right there. So, there are
they shall see us deterred.
different buffs you can get in the game, and what we just bought were strength potions, and what they do is they increase your strength by 50%. And you can apply a buff 2 times to a character. So I'm going to be using 2 strength potions or 1 strength potion a lot, depending on what I need. And when eventually we get to a character that uses their int, we'll be doing that with genius potions. We get our sword out here, get a few more Duma points.
Do not let yours.
We are nearing the entrance to the mines. We must
And we're going to be getting to a fight here.
There's an enemy in the back. Take care.
So these characters are going to hopefully kill other enemies that I'm not target onto.
Tax and make it pay.
So I can quickly continue on. Use auto targeting right
移
there.
動しながら倒していってますね。スイスイ行くな。
Get a surprise attack.
Alright, looks like we finally made it out in the open.
Kill that.
This enemy is clearly unlike the others.
サプライズアタックって言ってるんで、不意打ちみたいなものがあるのかな、システム的に。
Alright. And that's the last fight we're going to have in this dungeon. There's another fight coming up here.
Sure the dock is really down here. We're being overwhelmed.
Hopefully we get a little experience there.
Wrong move and it's lights out.
Doesn't look like it, but that's alright.
Mines are supposed to be abandoned, but a great many crystals.
And at the back of this dungeon, we're going to fight the Mother Worm, and hopefully we have a good boss fight.
マザーワームというボスと戦うみたいですね。
Oh, I'm partial to
ほんまにマザーワームっての
3 or 4. I mean, this is tons of fun, too. This was a fun playthrough. So we're going to get a little more strength since we leveled up on those fights for Raymond. And we're going to level up Determined Princess and Rainy Day Fun. And what these actually do, while these characters are in the party, they increase the amount of experience and
合
amount
ってま
of
す。
money
マザーワームですね。
after the fights are done. And we're going to need that, especially because we're not going to be grinding a lot.
To continue combat, threat neutralized.
後ろに回り込んで、
Alright, so Letitia
AP 消費しながら
died, and
多分大攻撃を連打していると、みるみるうちに HP 減ってき
bring
ま
back
すね
all。those fresh sages we got. Okay. Yep, this is Star Ocean 6, The Divine Force. Came out in October of last year. Alright, so that was the mother worm. There was an infestation going in through the mines. We needed to talk to the doctor.
あ、なるほど。芋虫みたいなやつに、この町が襲われてたんで、その元凶となる芋虫の生みの親をなんとかしに行ったというのが多分ストーリーなんですね。
Sprinting a lot when I'm just on flat ground in towns. So that VA, that Vanguard Assault, is
さ
actually
あ、その対価に何がもらえるんでしょ
but inside towns, the game actually slows you down a little bit when you're using that.
Here we are.
So most of the time on flat ground, we're just going to sprint around.
Please make yourselves at home.
But in the worlds of the 3D,
No
oh
questions
gosh,
now. Let's just get to the infirmary. Once we're there, follow my lead, okay?
Anyone home?
okay, now we can leave after this.
All right. Now all that's left is to make
So we're going to head over to Rifle now.
う。左下のハットの左下の方に1名キャラクターが増えているので仲間が増えたんでしょう、おそらく。
She's joining our parties. I'm going to do my best to, again, not get into a fight.
Initiate emergency protocols.
Let us put down this rat.
I mean, we'll get into a fight. I'm going to try to
どういった役割のキャラが加わったんでしょうか、わかんないですね。
That's exactly what I didn't want to do, but that's fine. That blue gauge, you can see it's completely gone now.
わかるのは何分後なんでしょうね。
And it's going to
ひょっとしたらずっとわかんないかも
be
しれ
that
ない
I'm able to keep that gauge full to get maximum stun on the enemies that I blindside. Not every boss is a boss that you can blindside to do double damage. That mother worm we just fought doesn't have eyes, and so the game has the physics to know, alright, no eyes,
We'll be fine.
then you can't blindside the enemy. And so you actually can't blindside that mother worm or the little worms that we were fighting. You can surprise attack them, you just can't blindside them. So we're making our way over to Rifle.
Looks like our path splits two ways here.
And this game, it's a little weird sometimes in that you'll get cutscenes for certain towns
Welcome to Rifle.
once you enter them. You don't get a cutscene when you enter this town the first time, but you will on subsequent times.
So it's a port.
So, just real quick, I'm going to forget how to play the game, so we fall down there.
Just think.
お、落ちましたよ。落ちたら、あ、落ちたらリスポンするのね、そこで。はい。
And then we can wait right here. So, people,
My knowledge.
fans of Star Ocean, what is the key component to all Star Ocean games, or at least most of them, huh?
Speaking.
It's item crafting, right? Meet Welsh.
はい、あの町で医者見習いを
That
し
is
て
the
いた、
last we'll see or hear of Welsh in the
女の子が
entire
仲間になったと。はあはあはあ。
So, yeah, there is, in this route now, absolutely no item crafting whatsoever.
The building on the other side of the plaza is the hospital.
Alright, let's restock on stuff now that we have a little more money.
お、初めての買い物じゃないですか。何を買ってるんでしょ
Thanks.
So we bought more strength potions because they're going to be our main source of damage boost while we go through this. And some fresh sages because characters will die off the further we go in the story. Because let me tell you what,
How is he?
they're going to get weak.
The inn is near the fountain at the top of the hill.
I know,
if I
I'm
recall
sorry.
correctly.
The route for this game did actually have item crafting in it.
Good night.
See, good night. That's perfect RNG. So we'll have a quick load in right now after sleeping.
Okay, now that we're all here, let's go pick up Albert.
We would get
う。
alchemy.
一瞬アイテムクラフトっていうキーワードの単語が聞き取れたんで、
To then
多
try to
分
get
なんかの
to get an end game or post game weapon.
なんか作るんじゃないかなとは思うんですけど、スターオーシャンっていうとアイテムクラフトするイメージがあっ
But that's
た
all
か
cut
な。
out now.
3だとそれが
Midas fell greed.
特に印象に残
We'll
ってるん
see
ですけ
that in a
ど、
little bit. Alright, so we ran all the way over here because the game's like, well, don't go too far from Albert.
On the other side
You need to
of
hear him talk. But the game also gives you the quest item anyway. So we cut off his speech right there, ran over here, and now we're
本
back
作で
here.
もそのアイテムクラフトが大活躍するのか、それとも結構やり込み要素で今回は触れないのか、どっちになるんでしょうか。
The infirmary was on the west side of the village, on top of the hill. Let us make haste.
Nina.
Here you go, Doc.
So where is this Ada?
Alright, let's run over here. We have to go into the item shop to progress. We'll just go back up here.
Talk by now.
Shall we return to the infirmary then?
And then we're going to be making our way to the next boss fight. But we're going to be going back to the Doom Ruins because that
ファス
fast
トトラ
travel
ベ
is
ルで
a little closer than where it's expecting us to go.
どこに向かったのかが分かりません。
So when I first got this game, I played the main story on Letitia's side.
We have company.
And I had a blast with it, but I thought, you know, I played Star Ocean before, I can handle things, it'd be fine. So I put it on Universe difficulty, which is the hardest difficulty you can put it on when you first get the game. Obviously, like a lot of Star Ocean games, if you beat the game, the main game, on Universe, you'll unlock...
今のところ青い辻切りが高速移動していくゲームっていう印象が強いんで
So
す
I
けど、
started on Universe difficulty, thinking nothing of it. And then I got into this boss fight coming up.
何かしら変わっていくんでしょうか、これから。
I messed up. So, the upcoming boss fight, there's a multitude of these robots that you have to fight. And while they don't do a ton of damage,
Well then, guess that's where we're headed.
they
Very good. Let us
there's a lot of them, and they all rapid fire on you. Alright, so right now we're going to go to our skill tree and remedy the issue I came across. Raymond has a beautiful passive skill that we have just enough skill points for, called No Guard. And what No Guard does is anytime that you take less than 16% of your max health damage, you won't flinch. Otherwise you would for certain hits. And that is essential
I say we make camp
for the first part of this run. Anytime you get flinched or knocked down or die, you lose maximum AP.
We're still alive.
And if that happens, that kind of limits how much damage you can do.
I think we can all agree we'd like to reach Ada by sundown.
So in this run, we're going to do our best to not take any
こ
damage.
こキャンプ地に、
But when we do,
こうキャンプ地とスルーを、イベントを終えた後、また
that we're
青
protecting
く
yourself in a way
光る
where we're
辻切り
not
が
gonna
進んでい
lose
きま
any
す。
of our max AP. Because right now I have 15 action points to do what I need to do in a fight. But when you get down to 5, which is the minimum,
Remain vigilant.
it's a
難易度がイージーとはいえ、ほぼほぼ戦闘スキップしてますよね。
If you game over, even though you do get put
We have climbed seriously
right back at the
high
fight you were in,
後半だいぶ苦しくなりそうな気もしますけど、なんかメタルスライム的な敵がいて、一気に経験値稼げるとかあるんでしょうか。
What's up with
Yeah, that's a good point. Thanks for explaining that. So a lot of the people here have semiomancy orbs, which is what they their version of what they call symbology. So Raymond, being from space, he knows what symbology is. Oh, how dare you! Did you just jump again? Rude. Let me let my AP refill. Go.
Usefulness. Love. Usefulness.
Them grouping up right here is awesome.
今までとはちょっと違った敵が出てきてますけど、
So I'm not doing too bad. We're not taking a bunch of damage.
ただやることは、大振りの技
What
を
I'm going to make sure right now is that I'm not losing any of my
当てていくというスタイルでご利用してね。終わりました。
Blindside something, you're going to lose your AP gauge, and I need that for an upcoming boss fight that actually might require having that ability.
What's the deal with
If I don't have any gauge and I try to blindside somebody, nothing will happen. All right, so this is Midas Felgry. This is who Letitia and Albert were searching for.
You sure you need it?
They want to bring him back to the royal capital, but he wants nothing to do with it. He's going through this long, drawn-out conversation, and he's going to finish with an extremely long speech. But
Maester, you do not mean that.
Oh, but I...
we're going to cut him off right there. If I jumped in there while Albert was talking, Midas was still going to say everything that he was going to say.
Wait outside.
So we cut him off there to save a little bit of time. Alright, we're going to fast travel back to the beginning of the village.
ここで、この村でやることは全部終わって、
So right now, we're going to
パ
go
ス
to
ト
the
ラベルで
Hollow
外
Mount,
に行き、
specifically the Galka Shrine, and that's because the people here
Follow the side road into
saw what they assumed was a meteorite.
おっと、村の外にある洞窟に入っていくんですかね、これは。
So the first pod we found was this Duma, this orb.
the structure in the center is the Galka Shrine. Let's see what it
This is going to be Elena's pod. Grab that Duma cluster.
Elena!
You're not going to get to see her yet, but that's all right. You will eventually.
Out of the way.
It may be, but we do not mind. We agreed to assist you in the search for your crew.
Be careful.
宇宙船っぽいものが映った気がしますけど、
And accidentally dive. So
何が起こったかわかんないです
here I
ね。
have when you're going through this run is you can accidentally target something, not realize it while you're holding a direction, and then dodge quickly while you're doing a VA, and that loses your gauge, which is an awful thing to happen. Alright, so we're going to bring in Midas instead of Nina. Then we're going to start building up his skill tree. Midas uses Semiomancy.
Q3 アンロックの時間です。何をアンロックしてるんでしょう。
Star Oceans.
イントアップって出てますね。でもマジックモジュール、イントアッ
And
プ。
he's pretty strong. I'm going to say that. We'll see how strong he is as run
いい
continues.
ですよ。
Right
イントアッ
now,
プしてどんどん頭良くなっていきましょう。
which is area effect attack.
さあ、端っこの
Muscle on, regular chain combos, get rid of that.
スキルパネルをアンロックしたみたいですけど、なんか
Get rid of that.
強大なスキルを身につけたんでしょうか。わかんないですね。
That had a Sias, and Sias is a very, very important item. We're going to fast travel to the other side of this map. So, Sias, people might know Sias from other Star Oceans.
この
If anybody
こんな
wants
人
to
おったっ
chat
け
where that came from.
今入ったんか
But the kind of side
この人も青く光って
this
釣り切りするんかなでも。
Isoa. It's kind of like Othello, if anybody's played Othello, in a sense.
Prepare yourselves for battle.
この山にレイモンドの船の仲間が墜落してるってことで見に行きますと。ああ、はいはい。
Alright, everybody's gonna be dead. Thanks, Midas. Alright, so we came back to this pod to get parts to fix Elena. Elena is an android, part of Raymond's crew, and she's bad. I think she lost her left arm, her left leg. We came back to this pod, Raymond's pod, to get parts for her.
敵がいたみたいですけど、魔法で、
And now we're coming back here. This is kind of
即死でした
where
ね。でリチュリ
the game
退
breaks
却っ
up
て
a
言って
little
どっか
bit.
行きましたけ
So
ど
here、you have Raymond and Midas fighting some creature.
And I suggest you leave well enough. Now leave alone.
And then
イベント戦ですけど、
Nina
おそらく
and
ボス倒したんじゃないでしょうかも
Albert will be fighting a different character. So that was Volange, and we'll see
う。
him.
敵となる方の顔すら確認できてないです、自分は。
You're gonna learn as we go through this game that we might be the divine force eventually, but we are very, very good at letting the bad guy go.
Initiate emergency protocols.
So I'm actually gonna get into a fight here because I want to be able to switch characters quickly to run back to the entrance. So we need to make it the rifle, but you can see all this text happening right now, and you can't do anything while people are talking. So we're gonna
ア
leave
ン
this
ドロイド
to cut the text off,
のし、
and then go back to rifle.
アンドロイドの使徒、アンドロイドのロボッ
While
ト
on
が、
rifle, we're gonna notice that there's a bunch of people missing from the streets since last
山に
time.
墜落していて、
And the reason for that is that
そいつが
Albert
壊れてたんで、
is
天才科学者に、直してくれと頼みに行きつつ、船を直せば助かるということで、レイモンドの船の部品を拝借しに行きましたと。はいはいはい。
And so we're going to collect bird poop.
ああ、そうですね。小型の脱出で、ちっちゃいですもんね。
Hey, Digi. Digi and I are having an amazing time running this game. Another very, very skilled runner in this. So, we have Elena now, and she's going to help Nina come up with the cure for Helgar's disease. But we have to land on specific roofs to get bird poop as samples. So I need Ascalon Blade for a future boss.
新しい武器を買いつつ、
Try
ポーションとブルーベリーのようなものを買いまして、
So much for blueberries. We're gonna go up here. This roof can be a giant pain in the butt. Keep your fingers crossed. Okay. It's always soul crushing if you fall off that roof. We're gonna dive off again here to land on the dock. And then one final specimen collection is back here underneath the town. And we're gonna notice
この世界ではヘルガー肺化病でいいんですかね。原因不明の病気があって、それにかかると意識不明にネタを切りになってしまう。恐ろしい世界ですね。すごくファンタジーで、なんか活気がありそうな世界なのかなと思ってましたけど、恐ろしい病気が蔓延してるじゃないですか。
I also have 3D rendering set to 25%, which is lowest you can set it. Another thing you can do, which I think does help save time, is turning autosave off. I have that on for this because this game is not perfect and does have...
3度目の節減ですけど、
I'll kind of point them out as we go.
もう一度船のパーツ取りに行くのかな。いや、違いますね。スルーして、奥に行くさらに。
That should help a little bit, I think. Alright, so we're gonna continue making our way across the planet. This is Aster 4, if I never said that earlier. We're gonna traverse the hollowed mount, and we're gonna do this so we can come out towards Kato. And Kato is...
雪が降る中、非常に寒そうな格好で、男女を走破していきます。
So I'm just going to go ahead and start that fight.
走破というより滑空していきますです。
Just trying to get your sword out and avoiding contact with enemies. Oh. And if you do play this game, you'll learn to fall in love with invisible corners. Oh, you love it so much.
キャンプという言葉が出ました。ああ、ここキャンプ地としてますね。寒そう。
Yeah, it's There's a lot of weird things that have happened as this run has evolved. Some good, some bad. I'll point out all the bad ones. And anything interesting I can think of when we hit it. Alright, we're swinging again so we have less downtime between each VA.
Now we descend to the south.
I'm a little concerned I only had 5 blueberries. I'm gonna get wrecked in this next dungeon. This bird better protect or behave itself. Whoop!
おっと落ちてしまった。
Missing that's fine, because you just end up on that platform.
がいいんですかね。ちょっと落ちてしまったけど特に問題はなさそう。
And then this will be the last screen of the hallowed mount. A few more Duma points. So yeah, Duma, we can talk a little more about Duma. You have a lot of access to skills once you get Duma. He can, out of battle, he can scan for treasure or NPC or quest items, things like that. Inside battle, you can change how quickly you charge your VA gauge. Eventually, how much damage you take. Things like that. But we don't quite have
久々に、モンスターを倒した気がします。でっかい木を
But by the time we make it to the next boss,
倒してますね。
So I'm killing those trees, I'm killing these toads, and I'm gonna kill one more set of enemies after this. I'm also hesitating between each kill.
こいつを倒して終わりになるかな。
So I'm not waiting in fights.
もうちょっと絡みた
I
いです
wouldn't
ね。
mind having a little bit of a buffer while we're going into the next dungeon. Alright, so with that done, we're gonna
そうで
make
すね、
our
見
way.
た感じ、後ろ姿しか見えませんでしたけど、でっかいカエルっぽかったですね。最初に出てきたカエルと同じでしょうか。ちょっと画面が止まりがちになってきてる。
To the quest.
大丈夫かな。本形が結構不安定になってるかもしれないですね、これ。
And everybody makes sad sounds when your sword goes put away, because we don't want that to happen.
It's the ocean.
Along the sea, we will eventually reach
ここから
So there's a
敵、
free cane from
こ
Midas,
この
which
敵
does
から
boost
急に
your
経
defense a
験
little
値が
bit.
多くなってレベルが楽しかっていうこと。はいはいはい。
Has grown into a lively town.
ああ、真っ暗になったんだ。はい。
Hopefully not too bad, people.
Hey, is that?
Let us initiate emergency protocols. Neutralize. Execute.
ちょっと画面が正常に動き出したら、守衛をっぽい敵を殴ってますね。大丈夫なんでしょうか。
Do you know the cause of the outbreak in Kato?
a blackguard who is peacefully spreading the disease. Hence why these forces have been mobilized.
Well, I see a DM, but I can't check that quite.
守衛に喧嘩を打った割には、そこら辺を歩いてる兵士はスルーしてくれますね。誤解は解けたんでしょうか。
Alright, so this is Theo. Theo is a cousin of Letty. He's kind of giving us a lowdown of what's going on. So there's this female
そうですね、
creature
タイマー動いてるので、
who's
おそら
spreading
く
Hellbear's disease to people.
奏者さんの方のエンコード
So we're gonna go
環境なん
explore
じゃ
the
ないかな
sound
と。
coming up to see.
我々にできることはないです。お祈りするぐらいです。
It looms over the northern part of Katarina.
There's a legend about these mountains, you know. Has to do with an enchantress and a prince.
I'm listening.
Yep. A long time
Alright,
ago.
so my goal right now is to make it
The Kingswood.
across this
Beautiful
path
enchantress
quickly as I
fell in
can.
love with a young prince.
But I want to be careful not to hit rocky
Not meant to be.
sections on the
Before
ground.
attempting to beguile
戦闘の人が変わったのかな。主人公から、ヒロイ
Like that.
ヒロインの女性騎士っぽい女の子に変わってますね。
Alright. Let's try to get in here.
Affirmative.
ただ、辻斬りの性能としてはこの女性の方が広範囲に辻斬りができそうで怖いです。
Okay, guys. The plant we're
Alright.
looking for.
So here we're gonna have these brambles.
If you spot a plant that looks promising, give me a holler. Depending on what we find, Elena and I should be able to figure out how many days.
That we have to destroy as we go through.
And let us not forget Theo's request.
And then we're gonna get into another worm fight here.
Now, if I were Dilwyn,
Now, we saved a little bit of strength potions. So I could use 2 on this fight, and that went really well. And now,
じゃあちょっと、ゲームも安定していないので、クエスティング・フォー・グローリー5の説明を詠唱させていただければと思います。
when there's
現在、ジャパニーズリストリームでは、クエスティング・フォー・グローリー5の様子を公認で日本語ミラー配信しています。クエスティング・フォー・グローリー5は、RPG リミットブレイクの Twitch チャンネルで行われる RPG の RT を集めたオンラインイベントです。イベントは1月31日午前1時半から2月6日の午後8時頃まで24時間昼夜問わず開催されております。ぜひ最後までお楽しみください。
onto
今回はね、チャリティーとかじゃない
as
の
much as
か
we
な
can get against the boss that's coming up.
説明書を見た限りはそんな形ですけど。
Alright, but if we are having frame drops, let me go ahead and see. I know, no problem. Kind of seeing what's going on.
で今回は完全なオンライン開催です。詠唱が長くなると、噛むもしくは漢字を読み間違えるということが多発するので、詠唱が短いことは非常にありがたいですね。
Good enough for tech to know if something's going on their end. Alright, breaking this. We need Miles and his Spicule for one more fight coming up. Alright. Alright, yeah, let me do this fight and I'll hop over to DMs.
また戦闘メンバーが変わって、ダンディーなおじさまが杖を片手に飛んでいましたが、次にゲーム画面が現れた際には一瞬画面が火の海になって戦闘は終わってました。おっと、画面が切り替わってしまった。少々お待ちくださいのパターンですね、これは。ゲームの SE は流れてるんですけど、さらに、本系の BGM が重なって、なかなかカオスな状況になってますね。現在、走っているゲームは、スターオーシャン6、ザ・ディバイン・フォース、奏者は、ソーラーセブン007さんですね。時間は43分を過ぎたところですが、ちょっとゲームの方が安定していないので、奏者の環境を見直している状況でしょうか。画面戻ってきました。格付きもなさそうですね。
Alright, sounds like we're back. Sorry for that, folks. I think we're having some server issues.
サーバーの問題があったみたいですが、
Let's keep going.
心配するならこのまま進もうということで、ゲームは続いていきます。
The Questing for Glory staff for handling this stuff so quickly. I think they're doing an amazing job.
Questing for Glory 5の、スタッフたちが素晴らしい仕事をしたということで、ゲームが戻ってまいりましたが、ちょっとまだカクつくかな。
Okay, back in action. This dungeon, its mechanic is there's poison gas in certain areas, and it will gradually do damage to us while we're in it. It won't do any damage while we have Doom protecting us from a VA. Or those...
男女の簡単なギミックの説明が行われました。どうやら毒ガスがあるみたいで、それがダメージがどういうダメージがあるかわかんないですけど、とりあえず毒ガスがあるというダンジョンですね。ただ突破できてしまうんじゃないでしょうか。突破してますね。
Like I said, I'm not having any frame drops on my end.
さあ、20ダメージを受けつつも、強行突破してまいります。
You can see these the shield pop every time I get hit by poison, but not taking damage from it.
左下に表示されている、キャラクターの、顔
I'm gonna
の
manually
横に、
target,
多分おそらく HP が表示されてるんだと思いますけど、
lock off that.
2名ほど瀕死になってましたね、今。1ってなってま
And
したよ。
now, keep my fingers crossed that Raymond doesn't accidentally use too many of my strength potions while I'm going through a cutscene.
Looks like something's moving.
Oh, I just heard somebody use something. Yep, he just used 3 strength potions. I tell you, people,
Safe.
you love the Star Ocean games, but sometimes you hate the AI characters. So I have 9 strength potions left for the boss, which hopefully is plenty.
You staring at Duma like that?
But we'll see.
Obviously about to warn us again.
All right, it's a marathon, so I'll go ahead and do some quick heal right there. I didn't realize I had some blueberry potions
Yeah.
too. That's nice.
世界観、こ
Okay,
の
so
世
we're on the
界
mountain, and
とは
we're
ちょっと
coming
違うような
across
科学技
a
術が出てきて
creature
ますけ
that
ど、
was said to have been spreading the rot. But of course, there's got to be a big boss fight with this.
I heard you.
That skin and those horns.
So we're gonna be fighting Samati,
Guess and assume she is
this gigantic burb. Burb hits
前逃げてるやつに追いついてしまったの大丈夫なのか？
follow the route. Let's hope it does. Sampati, sorry, I misspoke. Alright, so Duma, we need to strengthen your vatting. Vatting is a new skill we just got. Let's assign that. And then, let's put on this new fancy weapon we bought for Raymond. Hey! Look at that, he behaved for the run.
あ、なるほど。病気の特効薬になる、薬の元が、
So,
特効薬になる薬が、草がここに生えているというのを取りに来たら、何か怪しい人がいたということですね。いやありがとうございます。わかんないから、なんでここに来てるかもわかんないし。
oh, I shut my global hotkeys off. Hang on. Let me pull those back up real quick.
その薬を持ってどこに行くのか、そしてなんである町では守衛に
All that without having
に
to-
喧嘩を売られたのかが分かってないですから。
So yeah, sorry, I got distracted by no global hotkeys. A lot of bosses have a certain amount of hits that they take.
あ、ブルーベリーまた変わってますね。これが、この紫色の瓶に入ったものが、ポーション、回復薬ですか
Before
ね。
they start to flinch. And if you start to make them flinch, they can also be knocked down. And we're going to be using that to our advantage.
ブルーベリーが何なのかはちょっとよく分かってないですけど。
Especially with Midas, who has a really strong multi-target, multi-projectile attack. Yeah, that was an extremely good fight. I'll take that in any run.
I don't see Alberto
Bless your heart,
here.
Senpati.
Should look for him.
So what I was doing in that fight was doing a continuous Vanguard assault.
It's Albert. I should talk to him
Just to
before we meet up with these.
Rack up a bunch of hits. Not necessarily damage, but number of hits. Hopefully to get him to flinch. Now, he didn't actually flinch, but I was out of... I was down to my last 2 or 3.
あ、誤解があってなんか疑われてしまったと。
Which is Raymond's attack. And
あ、
sure
ブ
enough,
ルーベリーが回復アイテムなんですね。はいはい。
his
あ
mask
りが
is
とう
a
ござい
sweet
ます。
spot, so you definitely focus on that first.
What's up, Elena?
And then you finally get to see Elena right there. So that's Elena. That's one of the crew members we rescued. Right now, we're on a quest to also save Chloe, who is the final crewmate that we need to rescue. But at the same time, we're heading to the royal capital
Company.
to stay in line with Letitia's.
ドラクエは薬草、ファンタジーはポーション、スターオーシャンはブルーベリ
Take this wooden path
ー、
and go
テイ
up
ルズはグミ。
to the Osirian High Road and then into the royal city.
From there, continue straight until you arrive.
T-pose dash.
Looks to be rather far. We
Yeah.
should be wary of monsters while we travel.
Oh,
Inside
I disagree with that game.
warning. Energy
No,
level.
no, 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 no. Nothing touched me. We don't need that.
The Assyrian High Road is just beyond here.
Well, well.
Alright.
Leave it to the daughter of Maester DeForge to have
So, I know some of you might be sad that we don't interact with Welsh Vineyard in this speed run. But for those of you that played Star Ocean before to know Welsh, how do you
あ
feel?
もしかしてこの移動の時って、
Quirky? An integral part of the run of the game?
敵が近くにいると敵をターゲットとしてロックオンしてしまってそこに突っ込んでいくとかいう仕様なのかな。さっきモンスターに突っ込んでてノーノーノーって言ってたんで、そうなると結構繊細なターゲット能力が必要になるじゃないですか、この移動って。
At least in terms of the speed run.
あ、そうなんですね。なるほどね。俺はちょっと気を抜けないですね、移動手段として。
Now that probably looks
うっかり強いモンスターに突っ込んでった時は、ちょっと全滅という可能性も捨てきれないですから。まあ難易度がイージーとはいえね。
It's not anything streaming related. You're also going to see me dive towards certain doors. Most doors, if you dive to them,
ちょっとした出っ張りでも引っかかると。ああ、それは怖いな。
So you can actually interact with it sooner than if you were to just run into the door. You can also interact with the door further back when you dive to it.
I know Leticia and Thea will keep their promise. If I had butted in, it likely would have just complicated matters.
I will have to admit.
立派な王宮の中を進んでいきますが、
Anything I might have said would have paled in comparison to how she handled it.
Alright, so you can't skip Raymond saying that at the end there, so you just jump into this quest marker whenever.
ああ、なんという、
One
そんな机の上に乗っちゃダメですよ。
thing that happens when you lower the resolution, everybody gets that line down their face. So you'll see that on a bunch of characters. Oh, she's here, Layson. She's here. We just
宝箱が見えましたが、宝箱取ったんでしょうかね。
we've taken item crafting.
こういう大きなお城の中に
Now
は、
there are other
お
categories.
約束ですけど、宝箱あるの。
You don't actually need item crafting for any percent, at least not on Earth, and probably not for universe difficulties. I'm not sure about universe and chaos, but
So it was you who showed it.
there's also queen percent, which is fighting the ethereal queen in the second post-game dungeon. So yeah, this game has 2 post-game dungeons, both of which return
人形を取った。はいはい。どんなアイテムなのか全然想像もつかないですけど。
So, right now, story-wise, we're making our way to Baldar's Citadel, which is going to have Chloe. She's being held hostage. Not hostage. She's captured by this military that we're on the side of, just because she
この
doesn't...
ゲームは高いところから落ちても落下ダメージとかはないんですかね。
But we're going to go rescue her. But before I do, I'm going to pick up a very important item called Mavel. And Mavel, or Mavel, however you want to call it, that accessory is going to allow us to sometimes freeze enemies. And if you freeze an enemy,
落下ダメージはない。あ、ありがたいです。
it's a nice little perk to have for some fights.
Travel straight south through the Osirius cones. We will eventually arrive at Baldar Citadel.
Oh, dodge rolling is the best way to traverse worlds, don't worry. I hear ya. Yeah, I enjoyed Star Ocean 3's post-game. I would say Star Ocean 4, the third Ethereal Queen fight, at least for the games that I played, was the hardest boss fight I've ever done in a video game. So I really, really enjoyed that. Oh. Alright. So we're making our way down to the Citadel.
主人公、この剣を構えて進んでいるレイモンドは、
We don't see anything.
普通にショックアブソーバーが
Gameplay off a little bit. I was talking about
未来チックな設定です。
One thing that
すげえ
hasn't
素
happened
敵。
yet, and knock on wood, it doesn't happen because
他
I
は、
can't
で
really
ただ
fix it in
他
some
のキャラク
screens.
ターは、そういったものは何かしら積んでるかもしれないけど分かってないっ
This
ていう
game's
ことですね。
notorious for if you run through a fight and don't kill the enemies, usually when you get outside their range, you'll just escape the battle and life goes on. But there's a chance on fights, and I don't know if there's going to be plans to fix it or not, that the fight won't end. And your characters will actually stay there trying to fight those enemies.
It is. Captain Bertrand.
And on like world maps that I was just on there, it's not too big a deal because you're just,
It has been some time.
well, not what it would have been, but on some you're just trying to exit the screen and there's no interaction that you need to have there.
We have just
But on screens where you need to
教
open
会でしょうか、ここは。
like I just did,
way to the dungeon then.
you get locked
えーっ
into that
と、
fight and you can't
今までの
interact.
辻切り移動が
So
でき
you're
ない
stuck
の
there
で、
until you
と
go all the way back,
できないのか、
kill those
ローリングで
enemies,
言ってます
and
け
then go
ど
to、your quest marker. So it can be pretty scary for a run when that happens.
Take heart. We do not mistreat our prisoners here in Baldar. Doing so might only serve as reason for the Empire to come to their rescue with all fury.
So I bring this up because right here, at least as far as I can tell or think of, this is the first
地下牢ですか？
where you might have a double cutscene. So sometimes when you get very ready,
場内は辻切り禁止エリア。はい。
you'll hear Bertrand, the guy that was talking, say, "There she is," and then Raymond say, "Chloe."
If you would come with me.
And then both characters repeat those lines. And so you'll see Chloe in the cutscene, it'll fade out, and then you'll see Chloe in the same cutscene again, and then it'll fade out.
I have arranged
That specific one doesn't break the game. It just continues on after that, and there's nothing
主人公レイモンドと同じような服装のクロイですかが仲間になったのかな？
Where if it does happen, I need to restart from an autosave point because it just hard locks the game. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't.
I don't think it's this way.
知らないうちにというかね、仲間がどんどん増えていってるんですけど、
Sometimes don't pay that much attention to, but I need to start doing.
どの仲間がどういう役割の人なのか全然わかんないです。
You need to progress the quests with. You want to talk to them with them exactly
Just
facing
don't
you.
take us anywhere that's gonna
Otherwise, they
piss us
do
off.
take a significant amount of time to turn themselves and then
You are
talk
not
to
the
you.
one who need fear his wrath.
It's not just Albert I'm worried about.
クロイじゃなくてクロエちゃんですか？はい。
He might put Chloe back into custody.
Come now, Father.
I can agree with that, Raiken.
We are near.
I haven't tried chaos difficulty in
プレイ
this.
ヤーキャラじゃないの？へえ。
If I'm gonna be honest, chat, I haven't done the post game for this. I very much want to.
Before Albert and the others grow.
幻想的なところでヒロインと会話してるんでしょうけど、
Side of the story,
カットですね。
And then I went straight into speedrunning on Raymond's side.
君の目で確かめてくれ。直接確かめてくれ。
It's faster than Letitia's route. And that's mainly because of just story differences.
The inn should be just south of
There's a longer dungeon that she has to go through that Raymond doesn't. And overall, we still rely on Raymond in that route and then Midas to go through the game. So there are two fights that you need, that you have to use Letty for, and you don't have Raymond or Midas. And so you're forced to use Letty, who doesn't
こ
have
のローブを着た男性は
Raymond
どう、
files unlocked.
何の縁があって主人公と一緒に
Please.
行動してるんですよ。
Oh, I never played Star Ocean. My heart.
おのおのの、
Witness the unicorn helm.
おの
Bear
おのっていう
witness
か、
to it.
各キャラクターがなぜ主人公と一緒に行動しているのか、英語なんて全然分かってないです。
It's awe-inspiring. There is a lot of backtracking, yes, that is true. On Letitia's side.
They made it this far?
Mond. Raymond. Okay. So there's a bunch of fights here. I don't want to do any of them.
マスコットキャラみたいなバーニーは何ですか？
And this is when Solar
これ
realizes
出て
where
きて
he's
ない
at
んですよね、まだ。
and keep your
おっ
fingers
と。
crossed, people. So we're just gonna
なん
hop.
か場内で戦闘が起こってるっぽいですけど、すべて無視する
Now,
みたいですね、
I've
こ
had
れ
it
は
happen。one time. I know Meridia's in chat. They've had it happen one time. where this cutscene playing right now doesn't happen, and you just start out here in the fight, but super far away from it. I don't know how to replicate that, but it is something that can happen. Alright, skill tree. We need to get at least
マ
one.
ザーワームが見ましたよ。久々に見ましたね。
And then
約
we're going to
30
equip
分ぶりぐらい。それとも40分ぶりぐらい。
And then Elena, we're going to unlock a skill.
一番最初に戦った、マザーワームが出てきてます。 一番最初のボスとして戦った。
As a time for this run. And one way to do that is to cut this skill out. I don't know what that's going to do for the run, but right now we're definitely going to be using this skill. It's another good skill to try to start flinching an enemy. Okay, we're going to put blueberry potions on. We're going to put the Grim Reaper, which we just unlocked. We're going to put the Fresh Sage. We're going to equipment. And we're going to do Victa. And then Mayvel. And I think that's it. Yes, yes, yes. So I just used Duma right there to protect myself from the damage.
強い。剣をタンフリーしただけで死んでいく。
Now I have fresh sages.
おっと、後ろからなんかいろんな敵が来てます。敵なのか味方なのかあれは。あの兵士たちは。
Man, my people are dropping like flies in this fight.
仲間が近くまで来てくれましたけど、最後の削りをしに来たんじゃなくて、ただ単に近くに来ただけですね。
Thank you. Oh, that was awful. All right. Now, vatting. Let me show you what vatting does. Okay.
何が起こった？
Welcome to vatting. That was pretty cool.
敵をまとめて一掃したんだと思いますけど。
So think of vatting like a limit break or a super special skill. You build up a gauge over time, whether you're doing damage to enemies, or if you're. Let me get this. Oh no, we're not diving yet. Oh, I shouldn't have moved. Oh, I shouldn't have moved, chat. So yeah, when you fight Sempati, that giant bird, you unlock vatting, and that's the skill points we put into there. And
さらに大きな町が移りましたけど、特になんもなく、また続き禁止エリアのお城の中に入ってきます。
Pretty soon, we're going to be done using Raymond as our main damage dealer, and we're going to switch over to Midas. But right there, we use the vatting with Raymond because his Extreme Daredevil is the name of that skill. It's quick, it does a lot of damage. Oh, almost did it. I almost did it. Tried to go to the wrong spot. And so we're going to have that probably...
そうですね。グラフィックで読み込みの速度もだいぶ速いんじゃないですかこのゲーム。
But Midas, as far as a single
結構
target,
綺麗なのに読み込み速度が速くてすごい頑張ってるイメージありますけど、これは奏者さんの環境がいいのか、それともゲームシステムがいいのか。
But now we're going to get him back, and now we're definitely going to start utilizing him. You cannot change their clothes color. I'm sorry. So we're going to be heading to Nilbeth, which we have to take a ship from Kato to do that. And before...
あ、そうですね。ありましたね。なんか、主人公たちの、まあ、
So this will be the last
あまりにも進みすぎている文明のため、あまり進んでない文明の惑星には過剰に接触しちゃいけないとかでしたっけ未開惑星保護条約。
And we're going to bump it up so it's 67%. We're going to put these genius potions on. These are basically the int form of strength potions, and I need to equip, don't forget, a Sias and the Mayvel. case we want to freeze something.
This trifle is beneath me.
Director Melfias.
And now we'll be ready for the next part of the game.
Let us make for the seaport on the eastern side of town.
I mean, I don't blame
で
you
も
for
未開の
wanting
惑
to
星
play this. This is a
で
very、pretty game.
使われている魔法の方が威力高いとかもありますからね。
So a little cutscene here. We gotta skip this, and then we'll make our way over to Kato. And this will be where it starts to be important to keep our gauge, because the majority of the enemies that we're about to fight, boss-wise, I should at least say,
All right then.
can be blindsided still. Eventually, that's going to stop.
What kind of people are the Trappin, Melfia?
魔法使いのおじいちゃん
But
だ
we
と
want to
思
keep
う
our
んです
gauge
け
and
ど、
blindside them
Who possess
and deal double
杖
damage.
を片手に彼も辻斬りスタイルで飛び跳ねていくと。
Trappin can propagate their kind sexually and... Is that the settlement over there?
All
What's
right.
all the commotion about?
Make haste.
Let's see how well this goes. Keep your fingers crossed.
Firearm signatures.
Make yourselves useful.
We must focus on the battle at hand.
あ、イン
So
ト
that's
限
about
界
the
は
extent of Midas's
イントをかなり強化したおじいさんの
besides his starting weapon.
ジャブみたいな攻撃で全ての敵を駆逐していってます。
We'll be able to purchase something for him, and then the fun really begins.
We can discuss more there. Why didn't you mention you were friends with their leader from the start?
I was...
So this will be another example of skipping certain text.
Welcome. This is
So you can get to the quest marker as fast as you want to, but you actually want to wait a
What
little bit.
reason is the Empire invading Nilbeth?
We can discuss. I'll inform the villagers of your presence.
So you can skip that one line
Now
of
then,
Malkia, and then you're able to what? Talk.
このお姉さんは何なんでしょう。どういった関わりをしてくるんでしょうか。
Alright, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and buy a new weapon for Midas.
お、ニューウェポン買うとかい
And
う
then we're gonna get some mental
言ってますよ。
stimulants,
Let's make it.
which are an amazing item in this game. Where am I going? I'm going here. Mental stimulants. Refill 8 AP bars. Where am I going? No, solar. Get this weapon on.
杖を変えて。
Let's go cause some havoc. So we just got word that there's some
さあ
soldiers.
杖を変えました。次の戦闘が楽しみですが、
That is our
真面目に戦う戦闘は
enemy for
は
this
何
game,
分後になるのか。見当もつき
Rail
ません。
Empire. Which is not, it's not always the case, but because of the way things have been going on this planet. So I'm definitely going to be looking into these rocks when I try to VA.
戦闘始まりましたけど、とりあえず逃げますね。
Keep my gauge, not only for the boss fight coming up, but because when Midas starts to,
このおじいさんが主人公になります。
which we do,
おお、
if he takes damage, it'll interrupt his casting, regardless of how much damage that is. So I need to hold Duma's VA mode as a shield to protect myself from it. But when you hold that
なん
shield,
ということですよ。
now you get your gauge back.
お
When
じ
you
いさん
kill
宙に
enemies,
高く舞い上がったと思ったら敵は死んでました。
multiple enemies detected. Firearms. Secure the perimeter.
So there's 3 total fights we have to do out here.
もしかしてこれ以降の戦闘はこれでやっていくつもりかこれ。
My, how you have grown indecisive, Violet.
範囲よし、ダメージよし。で、敵からの
Alright.
被弾もそんな多くないっていう。これは出し得な技ですよ。
Another day.
I thought I'm hoping everybody was going to die there, but that clears out all that, and now we're going to have a boss fight with Gaston, who is the other horned creature that Letitia and crew had to fight. The game doesn't auto-target onto him, and it's kind of hard to find him in the targets, so we're just going to blindside an enemy and hope he gets blindsided too. And then cause chaos.
We shall.
Time.
あ、ボスに対して 1K 以上のダメージをポコポコ
Now,
Now-
that fight,
何本繰り出した今。
but the joy we get from that.
DPS で言うと5000ぐらい出てるんじゃないですかね。
Sias drops from him.
このおじいちゃん強すぎでしょ。
So, at least for right now, we're going to have
Hurry to Machia's room.
2 plus 33% damage at point blank range, plus our 67% point blank range.
これがイントのなせる技なのか。
Dive, don't dive, don't dive, don't dive. Okay. Oh yeah, Midas noise is best noises.
Where the hell is Letitia?
Oh my goodness, I actually went the right way there. Now, this is right about where
スピキュールという、技がスターオーシャン2で敵側であったんですかね。で、それが、6になって初めて、
we go back inside.
あ
We're
あ、
about to head
3から
down into the ancient
これは主
courtyard.
人公側も使
But
い
we
始
get
めで
word
使うことができるようになって、
that the king is trying to be overthrown. People were
で、
trying to overthrow
6
the
で
king.
さ、凶悪な性能になって帰ってきた
And
みたいな
so
感じですか。
Letitia and crew actually leave.
I wonder how Alberti's holding up. Let's take a
And
peek
so your
inside.
party actually splits up. I think it's just... Oh gosh, where are you going? It's just Letitia
あっち
and
っていうのは
Alberti
僕
goes,
も
and we have
見たことがあ
access to
る
everyone else in the party. And we'll be
ネ
staying
タではある
in
け
the,
ど、詳しくは知らないです。
And so this is actually a dungeon that
The entrance to the ruins
you don't
was
get on the
Machia's
Letitia
room, wasn't
side.
it? We should get down there once we're ready.
Never split the party. I know, I
で
know.
ロングスピードランサミッ
Level
ト
3
の
is
チャッ
tough.
トでたまに流れてたかもしれない。スターオーシャン2の時に、うお、あっちって。
Had a plus surprise attack bonus attached to it. So yeah,
いい
like
で
a
す
lot
よ
of
ね。
other
文面
spells,
だけで笑えるネタはいいですよね。
there's factors on your weapon and armor and accessories.
My gut told me.
Look how far down it goes.
And it's all completely random, so you can kind of hope sometimes to get something really, really good. I'm gonna keep looking down so I don't
That would suck.
There's another path we can take here.
I know not.
accidentally target an enemy. My gauge isn't going to be super important for this next fight, but it will be for the fight after. Oh, we're going this way. Oh, wrong screen.
Oh, it opens up a bit here. Let's see.
Oh yeah, I never used Midas when I was playing through on Letitia's side either. I just
There's so many traps down here, it's making my head.
I went for
This place is sacred.
I think I played with Marielle when I got her,
Accessible. We are being tested to see if we are worthy.
but I mained
And
Letitia.
to get to the Levitas ore, we'll just have to get past these trials one by one.
Here we are. This is Levitas ore.
We're gonna hide in this corner to not have to do this fight.
Ready? Is this what we need to take back?
If we hope to get any use out of the Folga, a deposit this minute
Yeah, especially when this the game first came out before they patched it. Nina was super useless. Now,
Indeed.
she actually
Yes, we did it!
she has a great function in that robot fight, the second major boss fight we had.
Like this?
Not only can she heal you, but she can also heal your AP with her skill, and that's super useful to not have to wait for your AP to recharge. And that's not a full heal on your AP, but she'll heal a couple bars, and that lets you keep some damage rolling out.
Alright.
Imagine.
ちょっと
the
もしかして間違えて2回スイッチ押しちゃった系かこれ。
Alright, so we gotta put those back down.
そうみたいですね。
I interacted with that a little too soon. But yeah, Nina was kind of bad just in her script on healing people. But in the 1.03 patch, which is labeled as 1.01, her AI improved, and she's actually much better at healing people.
Let's do it.
Now this is the one that you double interact with to open them all the way. Close them all the way, I guess I should say. And one final interaction over here.
Alright.
And that solves the puzzle to be able to continue on. Now, the boss coming up, at least for me, I would say this is the second hardest boss in the game.
はい、パズルを解いて、前に進みます。
It's you can't blindside it unless it's doing a extreme attack, which is something that I don't think we're actually going to have too much of a chance to see in the run. But you can blindside any boss that has an extreme attack. It's when they have a red aura about them.
Anyone need help? Huh? Did we get turned around?
Also, when you're going through this, if you play through this casually, I urge you to make sure you physically touch every single quest.
これはどういったダンジョンなんでしょう。何を求めてここに来たのかな。ここにもお薬があるの、草があるのかな。
So I'm gonna get rid of that. We got a size +2, plus 10% defense. Heck yeah. Thank you, game. Bless your heart. I need to start flinching you. There you go. There you go. Yes. Get flinched. Oh, now you fell over. Why would you fall over in front of me? That can't be good for you.
あ、恐ろしいダメージが出ています。
That was an amazing fight, and I'm just gonna pat myself on the back for that RNG.
杖を振るたびに600という数字が数回表示されていますね。
Star Ocean. I know people might not like the twist of the storyline, but
あれは通常攻撃なんですか？それともああいう噂なの？
Yeah, you can definitely get some good Isoa pieces if you actually play the game here. Okay, so we want to get fresh sage, we want to get more stimulants, and genius potions, please, thank you.
はい、回復アイテム、消費アイテムを
We're gonna make our way
調達して外に出るのかな？
Oh my gosh, gotta talk.
We just found a mother load of
To where
あ、なんかファウンドとか言ってますから、もう見つけてきたんですかね。さあ、そしてまだ敵が出てきてますが、おそらく、うおー、あっちが出るんでしょう。はい、残った人を、杖で殴って、杖で殴ると人は死ぬ。ありえねえとか言ってますけど、
So we had that fun little fight.
ボス戦だったんですね、今の。
She transported to
I shall open the way.
the royal city. We'll cut into the prison of the capital. And hopefully not get too lost in here.
they are privy to the plan.
Will they truly put His Majesty and the princess to death?
Drawing recklessly close will only see us captured.
Let's see how weird this fight is here coming up. That fight's so awkward. You get to that fight, and sometimes they disappear, sometimes they don't disappear, but they come back. A little bit of a pain.
Go away there from the northeast.
仲間を救出した
On
の
here,
か
I'm gonna
な？
open up this shortcut for a later trip in here.
そして秘密の抜け穴で外に出ていくんじゃないでしょうか。いえ、出ていかずに違うところに行く。
She's okay. All we need to do is just.
So on Letty and Albert's side,
She's essentially just lost consciousness.
they were captured along with Elena and the king, and Elena got turned off. She is an android. She has an off button, so fatal flaw in her design. But she got turned off, so they couldn't really defend themselves. Now we have this fight right here, which we don't really care too much about. We get put in here. All you have to do is hit the quest marker. You skip right through it. And now we're gonna have a fight with Neon and Valange.
恐ろしいダメージをさらけ出してます。多重に表示される1500以上の数字が恐ろしいですね。
I also liked 4. I think 4 is my personal favorite, but I could understand 3. I love 3 too. But 4, I mean, Miracle's X-Claw, you don't get much better than Miracle's X-Claw. Using Midas' cheat mode? I mean, he's not even in cheat mode yet.
What is this?
You gotta understand, this run has gone through very significant changes since it started. There used to be item crafting. There used to be 40 minutes invested into getting
なんか兵士が
for Raymond.
横一列で並び合ってますが、なんでしょう。和平するのか、花一もめするわけじゃないでしょう
So,
か
I
ら。
mean, the runners that started out back then were used to being pampered with super strength.
どういったシーンだったのかがわかんないです。本来は、2発だけなんだけど、おそらく杖の効果
I
で、
would need Celine,
確率で、はいはいはいはい。 恐ろしい確率の杖もあったもんですね。
Battle Simulator in 4. Yeah, that's... I'm trying to think back on that. It might also depend on the difficulty you were on. Alright, now, it pains me. But there's not a lot of fighting for a little while now. Right
時間は
now,
1時間半を、
quest marker to
間
quest
もなく
marker,
迎えようというところで、
advancing
マップ大体半分埋まりましたね
So。for Raymond's side, we're running tasks and we're gathering intel to be prepared to attack the
もうあと半分も同じようなスピードでクリアしていくんであれ
So
ば、
that's what attacked us and why we had to come back here. We're getting attacked by the Veil Empire. Plus,
3時間以内には終わるでしょうけど、
our
この世界1位の方は 2時間半で終わらせ、記録を持っておられるので、
betrayed us.
後半になるにつれてもっとスピードが速くなっていくっていうことでいいんですかね。
A shift basically that was crafted, but it needs Levitas ore to operate, and that would give them advantage in a war, but we need some time to actually get those operational. Meanwhile, on Letitia's side, to buy that time, she's agreed to go to the Veil Empire and marry the son of the king to join the two kingdoms together. And so you'd be going through that if you were playing Letitia's side.
何か乗り物が映っていましたが、
Phase.
おそらくこの辻切りに伝えるよりも
What the heck's wrong with
移動速度が速い乗り物になるんじゃないかなと。
No, but I understand. And yeah, I've never played Star Ocean 1, 2, or 5, so I can't really comment. I've seen Star Ocean 2 speedruns, and they look pretty fun. But that's about the extent of my knowledge on those. So another thing that's really perplexing to the current runners of this game is this section of the story right here. We didn't blindside anything recently. We haven't tried to dodge using our VA. But sometimes, for whatever reason, the game likes to take away your gauge, your VA gauge. Which is mean, because there's a fight coming up at the end of all of this sequence.
Ah, 空飛ぶ乗り物ですね。はい、ありがちな。
And so I'm gonna hope it's there.
で、先ほど攻略した石のパズルをちょいと解いたダンジョン内に原動力となるものがあったと。
captain is likely waiting in the council chamber.
So yeah, like I said, this is a bunch of back and forth just to progress the story. We're gonna have to do that same path across the plains again towards the end, and then that'll take us to a spot where the game could potentially hard lock, and we're gonna keep our fingers crossed, like I said, that it doesn't happen because we do not want that to happen. I mean, I didn't say I agreed to that, but oh, you're lying, Bertrand. I definitely talked to you first. So yeah, while this is going on, if you're playing this game casually, or if you just like speedrunning, you like Star Ocean, and you think you might be interested in learning the speedrun for this, it's definitely, you can add to it, well, you can't really take too much away from it. You can add to it as much as you would want. So if there's interest, there's like some information out there for it, but I'm currently working on a written guide for it.
主人公倒れてます
Guide for it pretty soon, just kind of showing everything off. So that material will be out there, available to everybody if they want that. Or you can just message me. There's a Star Ocean Discord that has the runners for all the Star Ocean
おそらくさっ
members in the
き
community there.
話しかけた後、数日経ってるよう
Joined for,
な
Star Ocean 6, so I'm really new to it.
黒い、背景になんか字幕が出て
To go talk to Theo.
表示されてましたけ
He
ど、
betrayed
数日
us,
経っ
but
て
we're
る
gonna be,
船が。
getting him to try to repent and help us in the story. We need his manpower.
何が一体起こっているのか、どういったストーリーで動いているのか。
Slow walk speedrun. I mean, you could do it. Your other characters would get decimated, but I think you could probably do that.
ただ、数日経って乗り物が動きそうですね。
The Emperor of the Veil Empire is privy to us being up to something, and so he's pushed the wedding up a few days. So we can't really test out the machines, and we're just going to be heading straight into the battlefield. Alright, so like I said, we got to make this path again. Fortunately, it won't let us fast travel to the exact same spot we were just at, so we have to walk there. Oh, I should also mention, so at the start of the game, you saw me doing this movement.
夢の機械はおそらく完成してるんでしょうけど、相変わらず移動方法はこれですね。
We unlock the ability to do it twice in the air.
多分これが一番早いんでしょうね。あの機械よりも。
So that could help us in certain sections. Off the top of my head, I can't really think too much of where it does, but
帝国が攻めてくる。はあはあはあはあはあ。
I also didn't mention that
敵対している、兵士は帝国側だったと。そして、今から乗り物を使って女王を奪還しに行くと。
We have greatly improved defense. And casual play that probably matters.
帝国との和平のために姫が敵国に嫁ぐので救出しに行こうというやつですね。なるほど、なるほど。それ、救出しに行ったらまた戦争になるんじゃないか、それ。
Oh yeah, there you go. See?
嫁ぎに行ったら和平するんですよね。
Oh, did you? I hope we don't crash this wedding. What the heck? What?
おっと
Why are we talking?
誰と話してるんですか、主人公。
Well, that's a typical marathon. That's never happened before moment for me. Why the heck?
犯行のための時間稼ぎなるほど、なるほど。
That would be super bad. I hope it's already set an autosave. Alright, so we gotta get into the Basilica. And we can get there through this window right here. And yeah, this is where the game can hardlock, so keep your fingers crossed. We're gonna go to this marker and see what happens.
この教会は、夜侵入してるんだけど、ローリングしかできないみたいですね、ここは。
No jinx. No jinx. This cutscene right here would play twice, and then the game would never load. Oh, get up there.
あの赤い髪の男性の方はどういった人なんでしょう？
One which grants us vantage over the
So as far as
反
Midas
抗
in general,
反乱軍のリーダー
I
と
don't
か
know their name, and I'm a bad person because of it. But the credit for that goes to a Japanese runner who had posted
ああ、ゲームがハードロックされる可能性があるのお祈りしてほしいということですね。
leaderboards. They were using Midas,
祈
and that
祈りましょう、祈りましょう、
out
こ
of
こ
how
は
to。use item creation, which was very, very nice. It cut out at least 40 minutes from the run. Is this Hardlock PC only? Couldn't tell you. I don't know. The speedrun
結構面
itself
白
is
いなん
not
ですね、
too
彼は。
many people jumping into it. It is still relatively new, so we're still kind of learning. All right. Well, we blindsided one.
メンバーをチェンジして、最強のおじいちゃん出てきてますね。
Where are you at?
えらい勢いで上の HP バー減っていってます、赤い。
Oh, Midas.
おっとおじいちゃん生きてますか？
Alright, not the best fight, but they are dead. That hurt our max AP a tiny bit, but we should be fine when we
なんとか
blindside
クリアっ
the boss.
ぽいですね。よかったよかった。
Please load. I'd really appreciate you loading. Now saving. Yeah, so
Understood. Please.
that right there is Marielle. She is, for those of you familiar with the series, a Kenny.
Yes.
And if you want a little bit of lore,
もともと帝国側に戦力で負けていて、はいはい、一発逆転のために、おじいちゃんが、
and she'll be
兵
joining
器
her
を
party.
完成させたんですけど、もうちょっと調整のために時間が必要だったの
Neon shoots
で、
the king with a weapon not from
和
this
平
world. Those the horned enemies we
敵
just
国
fought
に
are also not
嫁ぐというとこ
This
ろで
cutscene right
騙し
here
討ちをした
showing what actually happened at the beginning of the game, where that ship shot down Raymond's ship. The captain of that ship looked like they were under control from something, and we can talk a little bit more about that as the game goes on.
Let us proceed to His Majesty's quarters.
But yeah, she joins our party.
Maester Midas.
There's other references, I believe, a little bit later in the story. We meet a maverick. I think it's actually Edge's direct son, I want to say,
Ray, don't you think
who captains the Countess. There's a Countess in this as well. Oh, the nostalgia. Be still, my beating heart.
Until things are set to really pop off. Wonder what everyone else is up to.
Oh, Solar. Remember the first time I played this game. Oh, there probably are. They'll die before the crash, right? No. What? Where did Fortune Babies go? So yeah, that's probably the funniest thing I've ever got from a game. I grew up playing Star Ocean 4 on English, with English voice acting.
Shut-eye.
But streaming it, I streamed it for my community.
これマップ上で、
Japanese.
何でしょう、侵入、車両侵入禁止みたいな、マーク出てますけど、あれはなんですかね、あそこにはもう飛べませんよと、ファーストトラベルできませんよマークでいいんでしょうか。
The main characters are called Seeds of Hope. But what that translates to in Japanese is Fortune Baby. And to hear Fortune Baby, it just kind of tickled me. Well, I assumed it was.
ああ、いつの間にかこんな仲間が増えてますね。何人ですか ?1、2、3、4、5、6、7、
I
8。
thought
10人ぐらいいませんかも。
granddaughter of Lightspeed Kenny was said in this game at some point. I obviously have to go back and watch these cutscenes, but that's where I was getting that information from.
everyone, do remain alert. We now move to make our way through Baldar.
We're gonna hang out a little bit while Letitia's talking, and now we can actually fast travel. So we're gonna make our way to the Vale Empire and actually go into a fight at the castle.
Finally, we can get through this place without all this sneaking around.
And yeah, like I said, doing a VA in here is slower than just sprinting, so we'll be sprinting our way to the other exit.
None of the people here ever wanted to be caught up in this war. We gotta put all this to an end. No time left to waste.
Honestly, I don't know how many years between the games. I know the UP3, what is it, Universal Planetary Protection Pact, was created at the end of Star Ocean 4. That already exists here in this game.
This trifle is beneath me.
We should find Bertrand and his men posted outside the gateway to Baldar. Let's head there.
So I'm gonna hug this
狼の
wall
ポニーテールさんはケ
I
ニ
wanna try to preserve my
一
gauge
家
as
の
I can.
人で、銀河連邦
We're
の
gonna be fighting
所属
Neon
と。
again.
ということは、この世界は2、3と、1、2、3と関係がある世界なんですね、一応。
The gateway stands to the east of here.
We can nearly see it now.
Alright. So we're gonna run through the Empire here. Try not to get hit. Now, our other characters are gonna do damage
Make our way now for Castle Vale.
while we're running through this. So our gauge isn't completely full, but it should start to get filled a little bit.
おそらく敵国に乗り込んでるんだと思いますけど、すべての敵を無視していってます。
That was a little faster to go to that enemy like that.
Castle Vale.
Please don't touch me. Thank you.
The castle stands just across this bridge.
There's no telling when those
Alright, we did lose a little bit, but like I said, we're gonna blindside. Whenever you hit a stunned enemy, you'll gain max AP, so that's not gonna be an issue.
We have still.
おっと、恐ろしいダメージが出てます。おそらくこれが帝国のボスなんでしょ
Oh, my sadness is here.
う。ガクッとダメージ下がりましたね。1600ぐらい出てたのに300とかに下がってます。はい、終わりました。
Anybody else clinch? I kind of just
1分かかってないんじゃないですか。
I think we're okay. That was sketchy. Shooey. Luckily, people can use blueberries for us, and that's
あ、
fine.
世界線は同じ
So, the
で
third、room's right back behind us,
ス
but
タ
we
ー
have
2の
one
200年ぐらい
stop to make.
あと。ほうほうほうほう。
And that is into this room, because this room has Muria as an accessory. And Muria, bless her heart, has a chance to shoot 9 ice needles on attack. And those ice needles do not do negligible damage. It's so much, in fact, that we're going to take off Osias and put Muria on. And while we're here, we're going to strengthen our ice needles.
Let's see just how much I've improved.
It's a marathon, Solar. Heal up. I'll die.
We have company.
So we have vatting again, and this is another example where we're going to use it.
Oh, how you wish
Continue
to
to
run.
increase.
おや
Faster than having to go through the enemies.
うお、あっちのスキルですか今の。A 勝負なしにぶっ放してましたけど。
All right, let's see if we get a triple blindside.
Stay sharp.
あ、出ましたあ、出ない。出ないけど、すごい勢いで HP 減ってます、まだ。
Not bad, not bad. So that was all 3 of the
アンボスを10秒かかってないです。
the Emperor Boldor himself.
They will regret
who, come to find out,
Continue to fight.
is very weak to water. So Midas OP for him. And that really works well for the end game. Emperor Boulder himself.
もしかして、
So, yeah, we beat the horned enemies.
なんかもう一人ボス倒し
The
た
Emperor. Way to go. Guess what?
Probably a good idea.
ちょっ
We
と
still
チャ
let them get away.
ツイッチのチャットを見てたと思ったら、玉座に人が立ってて、みんな
Kind
そ
of
の
where the
後安
story
定した
splits, or
後、
just tries to split again.
ひざまずいてたけど、
We're gonna go back on our ship as Raymond, Elena, and Chloe.
これで
And the
帝
others
国
are gonna be
帝国が終わってしま
attempting
った。
to go after the Emperor.
So Boldor.
And that's when Letitia would have her own dungeon that Raymond doesn't have.
Much quicker than expected. The unidentified vessel was.
これで世界に平和が訪れた感じですかね。
Cutscene, and now we're in space. So yes, there is space in this game. Not as much as I would have preferred, but there is space.
宇宙に戻ってきましたよ。
Wouldn't hurt to take a look around the ship, I guess. Wonder if Chloe's in her room.
So we have a quick conversation with Chloe.
All right, time to head back to the bridge.
Head back to the bridge. Cutscene.
Status report.
And then back to the bridge for another cutscene after we rest.
What's going on?
カットシーンが続いてるみたいですね。
Did you check it out?
And what this all boils down to is we're going back to the planet.
What do you mean by?
We don't have much time. We should hurry.
Oh, why'd you do that?
Pike, set the train.
So yeah, right now Midas is almost as strong as he would be for the rest of the game. There is one other spot in the run where we boost all his we put all his skill points into boosting his passive and his ice needles. But aside from that, we're just going to be buying.
We'll have to wait.
Or we'll buy armor. We haven't bought any armor yet in the game, which is a little terrifying. And currently, Midas isn't in our party. The game doesn't put him in default for Raymond.
Through here?
It does put him in default for Letitia's side.
そうですね、連邦の船に戻ってきたんだから、まあ、宇宙船に戻ってきたんなので、今後はこの宇宙船を使って、いろんな星々を渡り歩いていく、
This fight, you're meant to lose.
まさに
Midas is
オープ
strong
ンワール
enough
ド
to can kill the enemies, but
ということにはならなさそうな気がしてきます。
marathon safety over me just being a big baby right now. So we're just gonna wait out the fight.
実は皇帝が人間じゃなかったので追いかけます。なるほど。
Unnecessary risk and lose my max AP.
Your opponent.
We can skip that fight.
人間じゃなかった。魔物とかそっ
So
ち
this
の
level's
類ですか
already
ね。
been completed by Letitia's side.
We need to take this
All these
above
teleporters are open, and we can go straight to the boss arena.
Let's use the turbo lift here. The colonel and the rest should still be down on the lowest level.
And now, everybody, hope.
It looks
Hope that I don't get absolutely slaughtered.
Stay sharp.
unable to danger.
ちょっと一気に全員死んだ。
Don't touch me!
Unable to continue combat.
Saved it!
危ない。
Dude, why you walking? Don't walk towards me. You don't want to miss.
Unable to continue combat.
Valanche, what? Are you stuck behind the things? What did you do?
It would appear the time for
スタックしてるとこいてますよ。何やってんのって言ってますね。
quite busy, as you can see.
Well, that was just fun.
Be seeing you.
I think my heart stopped for a second. So yeah, you're not meant to actually win that fight. You are supposed to survive. If you game over, you actually do game over. So you do have to survive that. And that was a little closer than I would have liked it to
I
be.
don't really
But
know where to start.
got through there, that's
For
fine.
now,
ゲームオーバーが一瞬よぎりましたが、なんとかリカバリー、素晴らしいリカバリーで、乗り越えました。
Fast travel here to start a cutscene. And then we're going to split up again.
時間経過ボスなんですね、今のは。
Letitia and
な
her
るほど、なるほ
crew
ど
are。actually going to come into space with us. We just have a little bit of our own space main story quest to go through right now. I shouldn't even call it main story quest. It's just kind of a few quest markers to hit.
Better rest up after all that.
あれはさっきも回避不可能な斬撃が飛んできたんですかね。
Alright. My PB
で、
has
運よく、
like this.
ケニー家の
So
ポ
he's
ニー
snoring.
テ
I
ール
don't know if you guys
さ
can
んだ
actually see. I
け
don't
生
know
き
what
残
the
っ
audio
て、
response is, but he's snoring right now, which
回
is
復アイ
causing
テムを使
longer
っ
load time.
た直後ぐらいに、ケニーの青ポニーテール死んでしまったけど、なんとかリカバリーはできたそうな
We're
後。
gonna start
っていう
trying
認識でいいんで
to
しょう
get
か。
party members right up into our ship here. And at long last, it's time to buy some weapons and armor. It's nice that it works out. Oh gosh, why would you jump? It works out that of all bosses and everything you've killed so far, you do have enough money to buy armor for the 4 characters you're going to be using, and a weapon for Midas. So before we talk to Letitia, let's do this.
あ、またお買い物ですね。回復アイテムを仕入れて、
Okay.
新しい武器も買うんでしょうか。
Let's get some armor.
買ってますね。アーマーも買ってますね。
And then for equipping, this is actually pretty nice. You can do it from your item menu. So you don't have to go into every single person's menu to equip their stuff.
またおじいちゃんが新しい杖を手にしましたよ。嫌な予感しかしないです。
Still so much Marielle and I both don't seem to know about this entire situation. Might be a good idea to see what Duma can tell me.
これ、未開、未開拓惑星保護条約クソくらいみたいな感じで、惑星の方々、船に前に切れてますけど、いいんでしょうか。
Space locations we have to go through. I'm gonna sleep one more time. What do we get? Snoring again. The game hates me. Shame to my family. I'm sad. The world is ending. I'm so upset. Oh, you've got the load.
Has reached the Manuk system. They have made contact with what appear to be 2 Scorpion ships. They are engaging.
Now the game's a little inconsistent. Like I can interact with the elevator there while Nina's talking, or not Nina, Chloe, while Chloe's talking.
Status report.
The Manuk?
There is a specific cutscene coming up after this next dungeon where we can't, or at least 2 dungeons in. I'm not sure. All right, so the game likes to take out Midas. What the heck? But we need Midas. Midas' life.
In terms of external appearance, this vessel is not particularly
ダメージが 3K になってる。
Killing the enemies here that I blindside.
these scorpion are overly aggressive.
Okay,
今まで1600ぐらいのダメージだったものが3000になってますね。倍です。
so yeah, with this giant upgrade we just got, Midas is super OP right now.
This proves things aren't looking good for the Federation underdog.
Bosses are still going to take some hits, for sure.
That the Centralist Scorpion have had direct influence on the Federation. Necessary conflict.
Hey,
But we should be alright.
we might be able to move this junk
And
here with
the basic strategy now is to flinch bosses as soon as we can. Now, if you play this game casually, and please relate and chat with me if you have, hitting these pieces of debris can be so enraging. Sometimes the game registers you did, sometimes it doesn't. We got some good luck there.
お
Registered both times.
どうなっとる
But that can be a trouble spot sometimes when you're playing casually.
Awesome! We made it! Let's keep moving.
Alright.
す
So,
ごい、やったーって喜んでる、英語字幕が見えましたが、なんかパズルがあったのかな。ただそれは無理より突破してるっぽいですね。
I break your rock. JJ, who we meet here, is part scorpion, part organic life form.
無重力なので、でっかい塊を殴れば動くやろうというパズル。なるほど。
And maybe I should talk about scorpion. So,
機械ね、何かしら困ったら、ちょっと叩くと治りますから。
once we're out of this ship. Scorpion is inorganic life forms that have one mind based on a cybernetic network. So they have a directive. It's basically Skynet, if you will.
見たこともないような、なんか侍の鎧を着た方がいましたけど、おっと、ボス戦ですが、倒れてる相手にも問答無用で青い魔法を重ねていきます。倒しました。
So Scorpion has this one mind, and they offer organic life forms the ability to fuse with Scorpion, so that they gain all the benefits of having that like one-minded network, but also they don't get sick anymore. They gain all the benefits basically.
スコーピオンっていう敵だったんですかね、
What
今
we're
の
going to
は。
find out in this next area is there's an offshoot branch from that mind called the Centralists, and the Centralists have a different directive, and so the Centralist Scorpion are what Boldor and Gaston and Valange are being a part of, and that's kind of where the main struggle in this game is. Alright, so this is a tiny
あ、
snore.
追っていた帝国の
Borg?
皇帝さんと、
I mean,
人間じゃなかった皇帝さんですね。
maybe, but if you want to relate it that way. So that's kind of like our main enemy in this, the Centralist Scorpion. And these life forms are all over the universe. This is just one section that we're experiencing this in. And Parapium, which is the name of the area
で
we're
鎧
in
を
now,
がっちり
is
着
a
込ん
colony.
でいる
If
味
you
方
want
は
to,
いつ仲間になったんですか？
if you want to join and fuse with Scorpion, you would come here
You will undergo an entry procedure.
and you would initiate the process for that. So we're coming here to kind of learn about Scorpion,
Welcome to
see if we can gain any information on what's actually going on. Welcome to Parapium.
あ、メカなんですね。鎧がっちり着込んでいるキャラクターは。で、加入条件が非常にめんどくさいと。おお
Pop quiz for chat. You've seen Midas. How old do you think Midas is?
あ
What do you think?
スコアピンがね。
Guess we can just sort of take it all in as we make our way to the learning facility.
あ、スポットサンセット。はいはい。
Yeah, this is learning facility. This is where we're going to learn everything about Scorpion. But your whole party doesn't come in here with you. You have to undergo a sort of digitalization. So we're not actually fusing with this to see the Scorpion mind, but it's kind of like a fake digitalization for us to be able to ask other Scorpion what Scorpion is.
It would seem the information
Gosh, I wasn't
has
paying
been
attention.
updated.
あ、この JJ っていうのね、この人。
That red unit has apparently
He's either 37 or 38. I think he's 30. He might be 38. One of those two.
I still have much to learn about them myself. So this presents an ideal
You
opportunity.
might,
Try asking
yeah,
your
at
questions.
least two. I think at least two is a good answer.
Yes.
So this red Duma
Have you
gives us information on Centralist. We kind of learn about that. Now, we fought Boldor again. And Boldor, at that point, had already fused with Scorpion.
機械生命体スコアピンというのが敵なの
But he got
です
away.
が、発音がスコーピオン。はいはい。
Which is just kind of what happens. Yeah, I think we're getting used to it by now.
で、皇帝、帝国の大ボスである皇帝
So,
が
hit this quest
その
marker.
機械生命体であったと。
And I've missed Midas terribly. I need Midas back in my party.
Master, it'll be too late.
Scared to death without him.
I'll handle this.
And the game likes to throw
仲間が多いのが、スターオーシャンの一つの、特徴だと思うんですけど、そのお仲間がいつ仲間になったのか、そしてどういったバックストーリーがあるのかが全然わかんないですね、RTA だと。
Cutscene, you think, oh, this is going to be a difficult fight. But no, it's something you can skip and just run by and not worry about it.
We apologize for stating there was no danger in
So yeah, Yuma's saying we apologize.
error in not accepting.
They're starting to learn that the main directive might have some flaws in it because the
今のところ
central
全てこの
that actually exists based on the laws.
強い強いおじいさんが持ってってる気がします。
So we're just gonna run past this fight. We don't have a care for it.
お、ボスじゃないの？逃げ、スルーしちゃったけど。
It's a relatively long dungeon, and it's such a pain. It's scary. It's really scary to go through this because your other characters
They will be protected and the leader has fallen. I suspect that by now.
are pretty weak. We haven't put any points into their tiles really.
Messing with stuff here as we go.
I'm gonna take easy experience here when I can. If you kill an enemy that's stunned from a blind side or if you kill an enemy from a surprise attack, you'll get bonus experience and bonus money. And so we're trying to get more experience so that we can afford the skill points required to really beef up Midas at the end of the game. But this place has 4 sections where you have to fight a bunch of mobs, and it gets a little sketchy. Now, if I don't use any fresh sage here, I'm not going to go back to the ship because I don't need to, but if I do, I might think about that. So I want to be really careful here not to take damage
お
because
じ
I
いちゃん
don't
強いですね。
want to
でもどんどん敵出てきますね。
So I gotta kind of pay attention to these enemies and where they're focused on shooting. And shout outs to Digi here because
おじいさんのこの
it's
放
a
っ
really
て
fun
る
thing to do.
青い閃光のスキルっていうのはこれぐらいダメージが普通出るもんなんですか？それともその杖の効果で
So ideally, you're not in a fight
何かしら増幅されてるんですかね？
interact
確
with
率以外に。
because A, your character is going to be taking damage, and you could be taking damage while that text
イントをガンガン最初上げてたんで、スキルアンロックして、そ
And he likes to
の
use
バフもあるとは思うんですけど、
when you're not in control of them. And we don't want that to happen. We need those. We desperately need those.
あんな短期間で高
No, yeah, and the
効果
dive is
力
nice.
ボコボコ出るんだったら
Not
恐ろしい魔
vulnerable
法って
too
ことにな
much
り
in
ま
the
すけど。
dive, but it does help for sure. So yeah, this place is a little bit of a maze. What we're doing is doing these fights to get access to deeper levels in the integration plant. But these first 2 fights aren't too bad.
Initiating hacker.
Alright, 1 fresh sage down. Where are you?
豊富な AP を前面に押し出していきます。強い。
Alright. That's 2 fresh sages.
普通だと500ぐらいのダメージと、
No new fights, that's
1000
good.
超えてる時点でおかしいってこ
Alright,
と
we'll
です
have
ね、
to see
僕
what
は。
happens on the next one. I'm not
Does this leave us with
above
access to more areas?
losing some time to go buy more fresh sage if it calls for it. So here's where the game lies to you. You can't actually go to that quest marker yet. You have to go back to the other side of this dungeon before you get access to that section. So you have to go this way.
There's a right swarm of them in here. Is there no end to their number?
Don't care about those
The
fights.
more they group up, the more we can take out at once. Let's make this quick.
Blast it!
This is force fight number 3. I'm gonna try to help out my team members here. I took some damage. I'm not supposed to take damage.
I will take point.
Where are we at? 15 fresh sage. Oh, stop using him! Sprint you
まだ終わってないのか？
14 fresh sage? Okay. I think 14 is fine enough for this.
おっと、メンツほとんど瀕死ですよ。HP1 しかないです。人が2人もいる。
Everybody hold on to something, it's getting weird. I would consider the final boss of this dungeon to be the hardest boss, at least for me to fight in the game. Very easy, you can just wipe
ほっといて、この HP1 の人。もしくは HP344 で、ちょっと、ハットが黄色くなってる方をほっといてもいいんですかね。
Alright, room after room. We're actually going to kill these two enemies coming up here.
まあでもエンカウントしても即逃げてるんで関係ないかも。強いよ。
Almost 16,000, which is insane for this part. They run a little further so we can surprise attack this one. And so that should give us enough to max out our ice needles and our passive point blank range. But we'll do that after this fight. After the main boss here. Okay. Let's do some quick healing. 9 blueberries. Still have blueberry potions. 14 fresh sages. Let's see what
ヒ
happens.
ールで味方を回復しました。
I don't want you playing with me over here. Don't come over here, Albert. What I say? Go over there. Go play with them. I'm
こっ
hiding.
ち来んなって言ってますね。あっち行けって言ってますよ、味方に対して。
10 9 8 Alright, nobody spawn here!
ちょっと危ないスポーン、敵のスポーンが入りましたが、
We got 10 genius potions. Alright, alright, we in.
味方が2名ほど死んでますが、
Super sketchy.
とりあえず逃げます。
Please heal.
味方は全員ヒールして、
So we
逃げ
still
る
have
と。
fresh sage. Got blueberry potions. I'm always going to be nervous on this fight, but you know, come on. Come on. Let's see what happens. I know he is. He just non-stop.
時間は2時間を回りました。おそらく、このままトントン拍子でいけば、30分もしくは40分ほどで終わるんじゃないでしょうか。
Flinch this boss instead of doing damage. So let's see what happens. Here we go.
ラスボスっぽいとは言わないまでも、結構な強敵な感じの カットムービーが入りましたよ。
This during my actual runs.
ただ関係なく
Fuse Bennett, you sadden me.
Not so hot without the
じいさんが杖を振れば相手は死ぬと。
I'm upset. I had a run going yesterday where I
彼も帝国の人間ですか？
I still PV'd, but that's
お顔が見えないんで、どなたかは分からなかったんですけど。
gold split for me right there. I'm upset. Don't step in this. Okay. We're
We
fine.
should get out of here and head back for
Yeah, that was a
Paradise
really good
Transfer
fight.
Chamber.
That was a good dungeon. Oh, hang on. Split a little early. So yeah, we're gonna run back. We're gonna have one more cutscene. JJ is gonna say, "I'd like to come with you, but I've got some stuff to take care of here." If you wanted to recruit JJ into your party, if you're playing Raymond's side, you unlock a quest for him now, and if you do those quests, you'll unlock him as a character. And people, I haven't used them because I haven't really played Raymond's side casually, but I hear that he's very counterattack based, so it might be hard to use him in a speedrun sense.
Raymond to bridge. We're departing Parapeum in just a few. Head back to our original.
Yeah, the Parapeum dungeon, it's a little
Mario,
difficult speedrun wise. Things get much better
Huh, that's weird.
for these next couple sections.
Maybe off with Letitia.
No, Solar.
Better go look.
No.
The duty of
Yeah,
the-
from what I've been reading and hearing,
Seems
it's
like
very
someone helped out the
situational
situation on
what you
Vergol
can
this
do with
time.
him.
Better
So we
get
don't
my
use him.
bunk and rest up while I can.
So story-wise,
Guess I'll just rest up.
we are going towards our home planet. Raymond's father's there. We're going to be going to one of the moons. I think it's one of the moons
we will arrive momentarily.
where the Simbo drives are.
The battle will likely be
The power of those are the things
あ
that
宇
can
宙
operate
船
things
に
like
戻ってきましたが、おそらく時間的
technology
に
behind her. And the Scorpion want that.
ここからラスボスのダンジョンじゃないですか？それかもう一個ダンジョン行ってラスボスとかですかね。
So we're going here to protect that section from being attacked by
いや、
Scorpion. So
これは多分ラスボスでしょう、ここから。
no part of that.
And ready to go. Time to head for the
We're going to
transfer
be
chamber.
landing on the
Get to Vergol.
surface and going through another dungeon. Nope. Paladernia. Now our final use.
Ray, let us go help them.
The neighborhood watch.
おー、いきなり大魔法をぶっ走りますね。
I apologize for the language. I can't help that. I can't turn that off. I'm sorry. So that was the last use of vatting that we'll probably use. I don't think we'll have any for the rest of the game.
You helped save
How are we doing on damage here? Oh, we're good. We are good. I don't have to build up our gauge anymore or anything like that.
Yeah, sorry you have to see it like this. Normally it's
So this is considered
Komo-
a town, so I
Komo-
can't really use VA.
ここもっていうか、ここが機械生命体の街
We're going to,
で、
just
そういう
use
認
the
識でいいん
target
でしょう
and gain a
か。
little bit of distance there.
それとまた別の街なんですかね。おかっこいいって出てきましたよ。
Two of these robots! Let's run by them again.
さあ、ロボット出てきましたが、無視しま
The
す
game
ね。
likes to auto target the one all the way on the left. I don't want that.
オープンワールドのいいところでもあり、悪いところでもある、無視することができてしまう。
the same thing, but I don't know.
Alright, so now we've got this force.
私はシステム的には大好きですね。無視できてしまうっていうのは。
It appears that they have already taken the museum.
Force our way in.
Let me
So you have to kill those before you can walk into here. I'm pretty sure. And at long last, we're gonna
主人公の、
dangerously low levels of
主人公の惑星と、から襲われてしまっていると。
let's make it a point.
No new weapons yet, though. Waste of money.
他の住人からしたらたまったもんじゃないですよね。なんか身に覚えがないんですけど、 侵略者来てますって。
Ravinian's Cavern,
Oh, it's a cave?
where all of Vergold's best technology comes from. So, interesting mechanic in this dungeon. There's going to be certain spots where Duma is rendered useless. Oh, Solar.
Is something wrong?
You scrub.
No. Never mind. It's nothing. No escape.
I am getting stuck on something. Alright. Beware the toad.
The ground looks ready to crumble under us.
So yeah, we'll come across
はい
these
で
orbs that we
っかい
have.
カイルをスルーして、
We're also
さ
going to
ら
have to
に、
break ground,
円環
progress further into the
敵
dungeon.
をスルーしていきます。
Like this.
What are you muttering about?
Oh, please get off the stuff.
The gold symbol drive's
Yes.
really that incredible?
You can tell just by looking at Elena. There are no androids of the
That's a tooltip saying Doom has been silenced. He's no longer silenced. Oh, you jerk. What the heck got destroyed? And once again, Doom is silenced, so we are forced to run.
Find a way through nonetheless.
This next section is going to have 3 orbs that we need to break. Now, usually, targeting is a little weird in this game, and so you need to be looking right at
Vicinity of the symbol drive.
the target. But with Midas and this Muria, and you're shooting
あの赤い石は破壊しなきゃいけない
in
と
all。directions,
なんか祀られてるような石がちょっと映りましたが、あれは破壊しなければいけないところですね。
And that's this dungeon. And
Otto?
we're gonna go fight. Yes, that's right, Boldor. So this fight, same as the
ダ
last
ンジョン
fight.
ボスなのかラスボスなのかわかりませんが、とりあえずボスですね。
He's frozen, so he's gonna take extra damage.
はい、終わりました。138ヒットとか出てます。
A terrible, terrible boss, which I need to be very, very careful with. Meet Remington, fused Remington.
Don't get cocky. Cut them to ribbons.
We can't use Duma.
Really shows off the colors of rot that infest the Federation.
Gold will soon become a member of the Centralist cause.
これが皇帝の本気モードなんでしょうかね。仲間が一発で死んでます。おっと、ダウ
He
ン
doesn't take
大丈夫か
HP damage.
ゼロって出てますけど。
So we
Tell me
need to do
zero.
damage to his shield.
火ダメってこと、ダメージゼロですか？あ、シールドがあるみたいですね。VA って言われ、VA って書かれてるゲージがシールドでしょうか。あれが割れるとダメージ与えられるのかな。
And then he has
Remington
Oh,
very, very low
you're
HP
good thing.
after that. So that's
バリアはあるけど、ロー HP って言ってますね。
We got through that pretty unscathed. It sucked we got hit, but
あ、赤い石があると飛行などが使えなくなるので、揚飛行ギミックがあるさっきのダンジョンでは破壊する必要があった。なるほど、ありがとうございます。
oh, I believe
これで
I believe
皇帝は
this like green
倒したんですかね。
sounds like a
もう復活はしないかな。
attack, and at this stage in the run, it absolutely decimates you. Whether you're using S3 cage or not, it'll just one-shot everybody in your party. It's definitely ruined a couple runs for me. And the tell for it is pretty obvious, but the range on it is insane. So even if you see it ahead of time, you try to dodge, you're not always going to get out of the way. So yeah, we're heading back to Aster 4. We're thinking we're done with the game. But it turns out we're not. But before that, we need to say goodbye to these people. Oh gosh. Get you right in the feels. We need to buy another weapon.
また新たな杖を購入してます
Some
ね
more。armor.
Thanks.
This will be the last armor we get.
ラストアーマーだそうです、これが。最後の防具ですかね。防具替え。 おじいちゃんにとっては最後の杖がこちらになるんでしょうか。
Doing my best. I'm doing my best, people, to not be singing along with the music. Okay. So. I talked about hard locks, soft locks. Coming up is something that is a hard lock and is very reproducible.
先ほどは
So if you play this, you need to be careful.
彼のあの魔法の進化の履歴をたどると1200から1500ぐらいになって、1500、1600ぐらいになって、次に3000になって、ダメージが3000になって、そして次、ラスト武器ですから、この3000がいくらになるか、果たして何倍にパワーアップするのかが見どころといえば見どころじゃないですか。
Until after I see all right on the screen. There we go. So as soon as you get in proximity of that door for the elevator, it cuts off what Raymond's saying, and then he'll say all right.
Let us make for a serious.
But if you path that correctly during the cutscene, you can just walk into the elevator, and you can actually initiate talking to the or choosing the bridge before Raymond gets cut off, and then the game just hard locks. Just full send it, yeah, I bet.
Lola, you
Alright. We're gonna go plan what's going on. What you didn't see there is there's this giant spire that's formed at Nilbeth. And we're gonna meet with the king. Look at that glorious, horribly rendered unicorn helmet. Boldor is down at this spire. And he talks with us from there, letting us know he's there. And the reason they're there is because Nilbeth also has symbol drives. And so because we ruined their plans at Paladernia, they're going to try to do what they were trying to do there here.
Remain ever aware. The Nilbeth.
Alright, so we bust in there, and then we figure out some way to stop.
Gotta wait for this text to finish, so in the meantime, you get to see what Ultra Instinct Midas looks like.
動画終わるまで待つみたいですね。
Little Duma has not once led us astray.
Oh yeah, okay, so we actually killed Boldor in that last fight. But because he's so integrated with Scorpion, his mind hasn't died, and so he can just continually generate physical life forms. And we're gonna see that again.
Unable to continue combat.
3300。
I want to heal, but you're frozen. That did well for only having the AP I had.
なんか、
And it is, especially with the technical
カー
difficulty.
ドバカ高い火力ですね。
I'm not doing too bad. But we'll see what happens. I mean, anything can really happen.
It would seem so. Let us begin.
I'm not trying to jinx anything. My PB is
今のボスは、どういったボスだったんでしょうか。
52nd time loss to Bennett. The one I was worried about dying on.
そうですね、敵も硬くなってる中で、3000ダメージをコンスタントに出して、コンスタントっていうか、連続して出していく。まあ、恐ろしいじいちゃんではあります。
Oh, dipstick. I didn't want to do that.
You are now safe.
So my gauge disappeared when I accidentally did that, and I wanted to get more AP back from blindsiding. So we'll have to improvise as we continue on. There's 2 forced mob fights in here. And yeah, this is the second to last dungeon. It's part of the same area, I guess. You have to get the one from the other, but this is its own separate dungeon.
Think we've made it halfway up yet? I wonder the same. With my senses.
So there's where we're going to end up, but we got a lot of back and forth to do right now.
Just gotta keep going up so there's no more up to go.
So here's where I'm going to try to...
Warning. Energy levels low. Insufficient output.
I need you to die, please. Thank you.
バイクのような敵ですが、こちらも 杖を
Alright,
一
got
振
a
り
little bit of gauge
すれ
there.
ば
I'm
死
gonna
ぬ。
try to blindside the enemies coming up on the next area. I need to be careful though because they can kill your entire party pretty quick. For those of you that know Dragon Newts from the Star Ocean series, Dragon Newts tend to be pretty powerful, and this is no exception.
一応ここがラスなんでという認識でいいんですかね。
Yeah, I'm playing on PC. There's
まあ時間的にも。
split up on the leaderboards between PC and PS5.
Unable to continue threat.
Hi, Dragon Newt. Please stop using all my stuff. Thank you. So you don't want to stand on the edges. You saw those laser beams. I'm pointing up in the air like you guys can actually see me, but you see these laser beams all around the edge. And they do, I think, a static 1,000 damage to you. Which is, if you can look at our HP right now, it's pretty significant. So you definitely don't want to be standing on the edges of those arenas.
This area appears removed.
So we're getting this orb. We need to put on a different elevator.
Rest here.
Digi likes to VA onto those platforms, and I wasn't doing that. It's growing on me, though, for sure. Orb. So yeah, we fought those enemies with the intention of getting our AP
まあ
back.
パー
which
テ
we
ィーの
did.
中には HP が残り51という結構瀕死なキャラクターもいますが、このまま最終ボスに突入してしまうのか、それとも一応回復はするんですかね。
A little more backtracking here.
Understood. Make yourselves useful.
あ、でも回復しましたね。
So that's the shield that we're trying to break, but we need to activate another elevator to do that.
この次がラスダンなんですね。ここはまだラスダンではないと。結構ラスダンの匂いしてますけど。
So yeah, that
おっ
was
と、では9時になりましたので、ここで司会進行交代となります。
he actually dies. Sad face. I'm sorry, people, if you were attached to him.
Doesn't look like we can get any further this way.
So be it. Let us return whence we came.
But where there's gas.
ライトさんお疲れ様です。
じゃあ、あとよろしくお願いします。失礼します。
はい、失礼します。はい、この時間から司会進行リフトが務めさせていただきます。よろしくお願いします。すみません、最後の最後に入ったんで、事情がよく分かってませんので、ぜひとも、チャット欄の皆さんよろしくお願いします。もうほぼね、ラストダンジョン、ラストボスということで、タイム的にも自己ベストに近いのが出るんですかね。どうでしょうね。楽しみですね。
Okay. So this is the one we opened.
RC の
One more that's past this, and then we'll fight.
申告されている自己ベストが、33分なのかな。12日前ということでね、かなり頑張って詰めてらっしゃるみたいですが。はい、よろしくお願いいたします。
Ooh, go. It's a pretty epic scene for a battle, yeah? Bolor doesn't look very impressed. Why did you stop? Whoa!
ダメージが気持ちよさそうですね。すごい数が入ってるな。先ほどね、ナイトさんも言ってましたけど。ゴリゴリ削れていきますね。
So that was a little sketchy. I thought he was about to get that attack off on us, but we flinched him just in
本
time.
当の力で滑空とかして移動ですか。ありがとうございます。
Why are you doing this? Ow!
あ、名前表記迷子でした？そこはちょっと伝えておかないといけないですね。ありがとうございます。
How dare you hit me? Mean. Okay. So at that point we're like, okay, he's dead again, right? No.
Cyber mind.
If we want to actually kill him off, we need to go into the cyber mind of Scorpion. And so we get digitalized, And that's what this dungeon is. We're kind of in a network, if you will.
What are you doing, Ray?
Elena!
Well, it's not that I forgot to dodge. These battles are kind of scripted to where if you hit enough with minus, they should flinch. But both of those fights, I tried to VA, and I like got stopped on something. And if you play this game casually, that'll happen to you a lot. I don't really know what that is, if you're like stopping because Doom was in front of you, or if the game just stops you because it needs to load something. I don't know.
これですね。まあ、長時間のイベントなんでね、皆さんも無理なさらないように、じっくり楽しんでいただけると嬉しいです。まだまだありますからね。
Alright, I hit him, not to do like actual damage, but to actually get our AP back. I don't want to have to deal with that. And I don't really... What the heck? Where'd it go?
ラスさん、ありがとうございます。
This dungeon's pretty weird.
ラストダンジョン綺麗だな。
It forces you to
キラキラですね。
party up, and you have to find all your party members before you're able to continue.
大帝さんは精神だけで生きていけるので、体を倒しても復活してみないので。ああ、ダイブしてるんだ。
And
な
so
るほ
that's
ど
what
な。
we're doing in these first couple sections. So we get Elena and Albert, and then the next screen we're gonna get the rest of our characters.
I'd say we've seen just about everything.
Raymond's now Tamagotchi, yeah.
Back to that new spot that just opened up.
And let me tell you what, one thing you love when you're in a final game dungeon is unskippable cutscenes.
お、何か部屋に入りましたね。
So we get a little bit of backstory here of before we even showed up.
これは過去の記憶か何かなのかな。
The blur effect on Raymond when you take the
子供が
down as low as I have them.
お母さんお父さんに何か言ってるのかな。ファンタジーなんですかね。はいですね。もう白紙に迫ってる感じですかね。
King Boldor talking to his son.
People suffer this very same affliction. Tatiana is but one of many.
So this is one of two that we're gonna have to listen to.
Are we back where we started again? I'll try a different way this time.
And this dungeon can definitely be confusing. At the beginning of it, you follow the quest markers, and then after this one and the cutscene that follows, there's a quest marker for an area you can't actually get into yet, and so it's up to you to figure out that you need to clear every other thing that's open to you. So here we're gonna kind of cheese it, make
これっての
contact
過去だったのかなね、そんな感じっぽいですよね。ちっちゃい
because there's warp tiles and
子だ
warp
った頃
walls.
の話かな。
Where had you taken off for? You had me searching.
You can actually move while the screen's fading in and out there. That's what I'm doing.
さあ、ここからあと何分でね、GG のタイマーストップまで行くんでしょうか。
That one warp tile. To get Nina, but still warp
もう
to
複雑そうだな。これ覚えとかないとですね。もちろんね、RT だからね。
Elena actually has a really poor VA. If she makes contact with an enemy, she'll back off of it, and it takes a while for her to do that. So I try not to use Elena in the run when I can help it.
Say I picked this place clean.
So that's all our characters. We got them all back. We just have one more
さあ、2時間半。
to do the rest of the dungeon.
Oh, truly now, a newborn princess?
お行儀が悪いですね。テーブルの上で跳ねてますね。
My aides seem to have taken quite the liking to her. Perhaps more than I.
Surely it is fate. At 6 years
So yeah, while we're going through this, I mean, it's been a pretty okay run.
6 years junior って言ってるから6歳の子供なのかな。
Obviously, but it's been going pretty well.
She is still yet but a babe.
I hope it's
Our Nations 連れていくんですかね。
I was waiting for this game to come out for a long time. I never
会話イベント中暇そうですね。
never played
ありがちなやつですね。
I hadn't heard the best things from it or about it.
通常プレイでもね、どうなんでしょうね。 まあ、走ってたらちょっとなかなか広大そうなマップだったんでね、自然と高速移動していくようにはなるのかなと思うんですが。
They got nothing left. Oh, I can't do that yet.
ファイナルラストダンジョンかな。
But,
おお、ショートカット。そこ飛べるんだ。
they did come out with another one. Alright, Midas.
最後の設定ですかね。おじいちゃんですかね。
Oh my goodness.
どうしたんだろう今のオーマイグッドネスは。なんか忘れてるかな。
Oh.
スキルマックス。何かスキルアップのポイント振りを忘れてたんですかね。
Now he's fully decked out.
セットアップ OK かな。
So, there's a few boss fights we have left to deal with. First one we go to, because it's closer, is Remington again.
さあ、それっぽい部屋に来ましたね。
But Remington, bless his heart,
それっぽい敵がいますね。
can be blindsided. Or surprised.
ダメージが0しか入ってないんですけれども、どうなってんだろうこれ。硬っ。いや、硬いってレベルじゃないな。でも何か削れていってますね。VA っていうゲージは削れていってるのかな。お、倒れた。あ、入った。
Oh, did I run out of...
プレイでもこんな感じですね。ファストトラベルもあるし。あ、割と快適なんですよ。おお、その辺やっぱりよくできてますね。
Yeah.
さすが最新ゲームだわ。
So next, we're gonna fight another burb, but I gotta restock.
ブルーベリー、フレッシュセイジ、なんとかポーション。
Burb time. That is a lot of numbers. It's also something you can turn off. You actually have the custom
自己ベストはちょっとさすがに超えそうですかね。もうあと1分ないもんね。
to
ちょっとね、配信トラブルか、機材トラブルかありましたし、あの辺もね、ありましたから。
or
パソ
everybody.
コンのエンコード的にはちょっと厳しそうな画面が続いておりますが、なんとかね、フレーム落ちとなく来てるかな。カクカクせずに来てるかな。強い。
Okay.
すごいな、タコ殴りだな。
I would call that a good fight.
We back where we started again? How to try a different way this time.
同じところをくるくるしているように見えるんだけど、これはまた違うところに入ってるんですかね。
But these are specifically
もうルームスゴー的なこと言ったかな。
just you have to
あ
kill
と
a
2
certain
部屋ぐらいあるんですかね。
enemies and then you're able to leave.
これは普通にここのまま戦う。さっきのは戦闘の、なんていうの、特別な戦闘ルームだったんですかね。中ボスだったのかな。
And obviously nothing can stop Midas, so that's not going to be an issue.
また出てきた。今度は2つほど飛びそうなルートに見えるな。目の前をキューブがふっと動いたから大丈夫と思っちゃったね。
This one's easy enough. You just need to go straight ahead here.
ボスラッシュみたいな感じですね。
Doesn't mark off
みんな大好きボスラッシュ。
that well when you've completed something.
すごいな、空中コンボだな。
I like to use 2 VAs there because that bat can still be ahead of, or above you, even if you.
もうって言ったってことはもうぼちぼちラストですかね。ターゲットまでの距離が出てるな。
fly up to
140、130、100メートルぐらい。
We're getting towards the end. There's not too much left. Yeah, this game's really good casually. There's some things I wish it did differently. I'm not the
ちょっとまた部屋の感じが変わりましたね。
It's fun and it's different for sure. But it
立
seemed
派な部屋が。キャンセルなの？イベントキャンセルかな？一瞬で出ちゃいましたね。
Yeah, the recipes and stuff like that. It's not as intuitive.
あ、今度はもっとなんかこうラストっぽく。 でもまた違うのかな。
Oh,
アイテム使って回復している。
play this safe.
プレスセージ残り何個ですって出てますね。ちょっと見た目の造形的にはまだまだラスボス格ではないね。
Shooey. That was sketchy.
Surely.
So the only reason I didn't game over there was because I think one of that Sias I have has 10% defense on it, and I think that saved me. So we need more mental
ちょっ
state.
とまたアイテムを、
More genius
これ調合なのかな。いじってますね。
Yeah. So for something like Star Ocean 4, you know what you're making every time. But for this, you get something random every
スター
time.
オーシャンのシリーズも長いよね。
There's a lot of variability once you get the higher levels.
まあ、4って単語がちらっと出た気が
It's
します
hard to
ね。
deal with something like that.
また飛ばしちゃった。
But aside from that,
話聞いてあげないですね。RTA ですからね。
Combat free flows, movement free flows. It's completely 3D.
お、ちょっとごつくなったな。でもさっき倒してるところ見た気がするから、これもまだボスラッシュ中ですかね。すごいダメージ入ってんな。
Okay, one final fight to go. Time will be when I deal the final damage to the boss. So try to pay attention to the boss's health bar. I'll say time when it happens. But
2時間40分前後になりそうかな。
has a
どうでしょう
slightly
ね。
different form this time. But again, we're in this dungeon as part of being part of the Scorpion network to kill off Boldor's mind, basically.
さあイベントが来た。
We're fighting.
スキップした。あー、どんどんラストっぽい感じが盛り上がってまいりました。すごい造形だな。かっこいいな。
Everybody died. That's not good. But we're doing
歌
fine.
ってますね。歌うよ。
And there you go. That's Star Ocean 6 main story.
そんなバカなってきない。
Oof.
This cannot be. さあ降りてきた。
My goodness.
ガス。
What a scary end to that run.
まだタイマーがストップしましたね。完全に今のはラストバ
I
トル
know
ですか
we're
ね。
probably a little ahead of schedule right now.
GG かな
so
?GG で
We can let
す。
this ending play out. I'll see what.
そうか、まだ他の形態残してますよじゃないんだね。今のが最終形態だったんですね。
So we see here Boldor's really trying to hang on in his mind. And then
あ、ラストスースありがとうございます。すいません、ちょっと
horribly beating him
画面見てたんで。見ました。かわいいな。
High spirits, feel free to let it go. You mean play? Feel free to let it play.
Devotion is ultimately the same as one empty of all.
Thank you for the GGs, everybody. This is a fun run. I have a blast with this run. I was excited to learn it too.
Boldor.
2時間37分59秒でしたね。GG です。申請された自己ベストが2時間33分なんでね。途中その機材トラブルもあったし、ほぼベストのね、
So this is where Duma
タイムで
steps
来られ
up
てたんじゃないでしょうか。
and is going to sacrifice themselves to put an end to Boldor
お
finally.
人形さんみたいですね。
Sub 230 win. We'll see. We'll see. I'm still trying to route out a way to do that. Like I said, we got a 231 yesterday, but it's even then, it's tight. My sum of best is under 230, but man, the kind of run you would need for that.
いきなりでかくなったりそうし、サイズ的にそこまで超巨大サイズにならなかったね、ラスボスさんね。まだ人で対峙できるギリギリぐらいのサイズになりましたね。ちょっとずっと頭痛そうですね。大丈夫かな。なんかこう、クエスト・フォー・グローリーの方はタイトルがね、ちょっと先走ってますけど、まだね、スター・オーシャン6、ディバイン・フォースのね、途中、最後であります。
Yeah, this will get you right in the feels.
そうそうね、きちんと寝て、頭痛直してもらって、体調気をつけましょうね。皇帝の意志みたいなね。このユニットが元凶だったりするんですか？こういうユニットのデザインもいいな。
Understood. Rest assured.
Ray, at your side.
I found faith in the future
これユニットの喋ってるとこ聞きたいな。ちょっと思ったよりもユニットの、じゃないや、本家のゲーム音がちっちゃめかな。
I didn't 100% anything.
あ、聞こえた聞こえた。
I haven't gone through the bonus dungeon, so it might have been less than that.
ああいう機械音声好きだ
I
わ
wanted to get into。the speed run before I went to look at the bonus dungeons, just because I was ahead of it and gather information so I could give that out to people that might also be interested in speedrunning this. And like I said earlier in the run, if people miss
去っていっ
it,
ちゃった。
I'm working on a written guide for this. I'm also going to be making a video guide soon for it.
なんだろう、皇帝さんも許してもらえてるのかな。
If you'd like to learn this run.
連れて行ってもらってますね。悲しいお話ですね。
Ish, but
デュマってね、名前でしたね。
it's a very fun run. Duma phone home. Poor Duma.
ああ、側は残るんだ。
So what percent?
心だけが去っていっちゃったんだ。
I spent too much
悲しい
time on
な。
that. I think that revolves around playing the Ethereal Queen. I'm not sure. There's also Queen percent, which is going through the game from the
全
beginning.
部終わったんかな的な話ですかね。
And there's
It only just begins.
I think there's only one run for that, and there's plenty. There might be two. I think there's only one. There's plenty to do with that as
終わ
well.
ったんじゃなくて始まったん的な話ですかね。そうよねって話かな。でもありがとう的なね。
So yeah, myself, I'm a retro speedrunner.
空いてるからかな。結構しっかりめにエンディング見てますね。まあ、先ほどのタイトルもそうだったですけどね。ちょっと巻き巻きですね。
The Seiken Densetsu trilogy for speedruns. I just played Final Fantasy Adventure for the first time. I'll be streaming that.
Protectorate then.
So if that interests you, love to see you.
As I mentioned before,
But I appreciate you all watching. It's, I was looking forward to this because I really wanted to get Star Ocean out there for people to see.
Are we to be subjected to surveillance by an ambassador?
No, nothing quite as direct as that.
今のユニットが皇帝の際にとどめの吸収をして一緒に連れてったんですかね。そうじゃないと倒しきれなかったのかな。
So you're going to be protected by the UP3 now. We're going to have people watching you just
おじいちゃん
to
渋いな。
progress with your quote-unquote evolution on this planet
Some things are
and try to regulate that.
And though it might not exactly be compensation, all of you who have been subject to intense intervention now have the option to travel to any Federation system to live or study.
ヒロイン候補いっぱいいそうですね。この子も可愛いな。
I don't hate the thought.
みんな可愛いな。
Again, looking at this,
Agreed. But
みんな喋ってますね。
because like I said,
おじいちゃん腕ムッキムキやな。マッチョやな。
right now for the speedrun.
as to the consequences of progression,
Think exclamation mark.
今の女の子一人二人ぐらいだったら片手で持ち上げられそうですね。
Good command.
ぶら下げられそうです。
Such an advanced level.
なんか右後ろに
Tab out of this game because this game.
属性の塊みたいなお姉さんが入ってますけど、いっぱい詰め込みすぎじゃないかな、ちょっとな。
Treat the suffering people
Thank you, Queenie.
with my own hands. And
My
おじいちゃん主人公だったんですね。顔付け可愛いですね、みんなね。ああ、喋った。
Must be one born of our own volition.
ダークエルフさんなのか
I'm not
な。
done with this game. I do want to try to get sub 230 as a time.
With you,
And eventually I do want to take a look at Queen percent because
綺麗だね。
it'd be fun to actually just play
モ
through.
リモリ設定ですね。
You're probably right.
The speedrun leaderboards are broken up like
刺さるわ。いいですね。
console and PC.
ああいうお姉さんが活躍するお話が好きです。
And
パーティー女の人多いですね。
difficulties.
女性率の高さよ。
Earth, Galaxy, Universe, and
always
Chaos.
a time for
And I might not be speedrunning all of those difficulties.
誰が嫌いなんでしょうかね。一番最初に喋り出したところからすると、あの辺のあたりがメインな方なんですかね。
planet preservation path.
そういうわけではない
I
の
hope
かな。
so. This, from what I was reading, this is kind of trying.
でもこの構図からするとこの二人はなんかこうお似合いな感じに見えるけれどもな。
So,
考えすぎかな。
best way to get the
But from my own view,
your hopes satiated
I
for
find
this.
fault in Raymond's suggestion.
2枚目系のキャラクターもいて、
That coming from you.
キャラクター配置は万全かな。
I simply speak for us all.
I wonder if my ancestors also felt the same way long ago.
英語音声と日本音声で多分違うんでしょうけど、
Let me get some
落ち着いた感じの
So,
声もいいです
kind
ね
of。like
海外の
Star
方、ね。
Oceans, depending on the private actions you have with
Why
people,
not? We
おー、2つ並んでる。
You'll get different endings.
上が日本語音声で下が英語音声
I
ですか
thought I
ね。
did a pretty good job on my casual play.
何とは言わないがね。
Talking with everybody I saw and
そうそう、結構エンディング見せてくれますね。
I got 0 additional endings out of it, so that kind of broke my heart.
Oh yeah.
But we're definitely not going to see anything extra here. I think we'll have this cutscene with the credits, and then we'll have one more cutscene with Raymond's dad, and then a final cutscene at the end. But feel free to cut me off at any point, Tech.
Free us all from the burdens of work life so we could just kick back and have fun.
Says the man bound to
なかなかローマ字の名前が入りにくいんだよな。多分開示で書いてあったら、あの声優さんだ、あの声優さんだってなってる
Thanks for watching. I really
男性キャラ
appreciate
がね、
it.
ムキムキですから。
Hello to all the
上田裕二さんいらっしゃ
viewers
ったな。
on the Japanese restream. I know
内田優
everybody's
馬さん
been
と
going
かね。
strong there
あ、
too.
なんかジャパニーズストリームに対する言及もされてますね。
Thank you to everybody there for
結
watching.
構ね、日本のジャパニーズうんたらくんたらって言ってはる話があったんで、日本だったらこういうことなんだよ的な説明はあったのかな。どうなんでしょうね。海外の方にこのゲームはどこまでそうストレートに、日本のゲームだから日本のこういうところが入ってるんだよ的なのもあったんですかね。
Whoever rescues you at the start.
あ、そうなんですか、キャラでさん。それはね、あの方の感じがするな、的な感じがする。キマさんなんですね。男性もね、女性もね。
Well, we'll see.
キマさんの絵いいですよね。まあもちろんストリートファイターとか、昔のカプコンからそうですけど。ガンダムとかね。あ、お疲れ様でした。ということでね、切り替わりました。こちらもね、ゲームタイトル切り替えておきましょう。
Tatooine? I mean, Aster 4?
まだもう少し喋られてるけど。はい。ということで、スターオーシャン6、ザ・ディバイン・フォースでした。最後のね、エンディングまでじっくり見られましたね。でも、楽しんでいただきましたでしょうか。帰宅しましたか。帰ったのかなねえ。グッドランでしたね。さあ、次のゲームのタイトルの準備しております。少しだけね、離席しますので、しばらくお待ちください。